Willkommen to episode 9
I knew there was
of the Red Leaf Retrocast. I couldn't resist.
I knew it was
Come on,
coming.
The whole German thing had to happen.
I knew it was going to happen.
This 9th episode of the Red Leaf Retrocast is brought to us by David's Tea. We're getting that out right away. Fantastic tea. I'm drinking it right now. Green tea. I was at the roller coaster park in Toronto here all day yesterday. My mom visited, so I tried my best not to lose my voice, and I think I succeeded. My mom didn't succeed very much.
She should have had some David's tea.
You know what? She should have drank all the David's tea after the theme park, and maybe she would have had a better voice. So, this one, we're going to talk about, the topics are, is the Switch worth buying at this point? And today's date is July 30th. So I think it's a few good titles have come out, or not so good titles, you might say. It's a good time to talk about it, discuss it, how Nintendo's doing as a whole. We got some small datas, you might say. And we're going to follow it up with emulators. Just if you use them, if you don't, what do you prefer? How do you play your games that are $300 that you $1,000 that you can't afford? How do you play those games?
I play them any way I can.
That's right.
I'm a cheater.
Some of us do, anyways. So those are our two topics, and then we're going to dive into our topic theme of the day, and that is second sequels. And life gets in the way. Not going to apologize, but it has been a month. Luckily, the Red Leaf Retrocast also has the Worldwide Weebs, the anime cast, to keep you entertained in between the best episodes, which is these retro game ones, which is how the podcast started in the first place.
Hell yeah.
And I don't know if you haven't noticed, but we have Kevin here, but no Josh.
Yeah, he's sleeping or something, or in Weeaboo land.
He's busy himself, which is okay. You know, the podcast will go on without him this one time.
The one time, yeah. Wake up, Josh.
The one time.
He might join us, maybe, if he wakes up, but probably not.
If he wakes up, but yeah, I think he's missed the boat on this one. I've wanted to... This was my pick, second sequels, and what this entails is basically the third game in a series. So think of Dark Souls 3, think of Mass Effect 3.
Those are terrible threes to bring up.
Well, I mean...
Well, Dark Souls people...
Dark Souls 3.
Dark Souls people. I was like, Mass Effect 3. They're like, no.
Yeah. Basically, the game is the second sequel to a series. Are they usually bad? Are they usually good? Is it done? A recent third game that came out is the insane trilogy of Crash Bandicoot, which it entails the third game, which is Warped. And people would argue that's the last great Crash Bandicoot game.
Hey, come on. The Game Boy Advance ones exist. That's all I got.
Yeah, I think the statement stands. The verdict is out there.
What are the PS... No, Twin Sanity. Wasn't that one good?
It was okay. I don't think it was good.
I'm going to make videos of it, and we're going to see how good it is eventually. I got a backlog.
Yeah, some other notable ones is like the Mega Man games, Mega Man 3, Contra 3. Our whole objective here was to kind of stay away from possible series that we could make an entire podcast episode over, and focus more on kind of maybe sequels not many people have played, or something that's so important or good that we couldn't not miss it, you know? And Kevin, those were mostly your picks. Your two picks.
I picked the ones I picked because one was almost obvious to pick, and the other one was kind of like a hit or miss. Some people like it, some people go, why? So I got reasons for the one I picked we'll get into.
Yeah. No, I tried to delve into some different games, and Josh picked, Josh's picks.
Yeah, thanks, Josh. And then now he's not here, so...
Yeah. Well, now we're in July of 2017, so there's been quite a few games in 2002 that now qualify.
Oh, good. Finally, I can start picking some PS2 games.
Yeah, we're finally getting to some games that are becoming retro.
Madden 2001 coming at you. Let's do this.
Oh god, a sports game topic?
Oh yeah.
It might actually not be too bad.
I already have choices for that if we ever pick them, by the way. I already know what I'd pick.
So, where can we find the podcast, Kevin? Have you been keeping up with this?
See, I know that there's normal things to say, but I'm gonna give everyone a pro tip. If you have an Android, I don't know about iOS, there's an app called Podcast Addict that I use, and pretty much like if it's on SoundCloud, Podcast One, iTunes, they take all the like servers and you can literally get them all in one app. And Red Leaf Retrocast is on there. So if you want that and all your other podcasts from all these sources, Podcast Addict, get that app. Pro tip.
I might have to look into that. Well, the main places that you can find the podcast is, of course, iTunes, Google Play Music. We are now on Stitcher, Smart Radio,
yep,
TuneIn Radio, and, of course, the big one, the hub, Podbean. It's still there.
Such a funny name.
Podbean?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they're good. I like what they allow us to do. So, we're at a plethora of places now. If you want to contact us, you can contact me at BowlingJD. And you can contact Kevin at ConsoleKev.
Hey.
And check out our YouTube channels. They're in the description of the podcast episode all the time. If you haven't checked out the anime podcast that I do with some other friends to fill in the gaps, go check that out as well. You might learn some things. It's retro anime. We even discussed some topics. The most recent one was deep narrative in storytelling. And we discussed a anime called Two Heart from 1999. So leave it at that.
Have you ever gone over my favorite anime, Cory in the House?
That is not an anime.
Just don't lie.
But
don't lie to
I
me.
know the joke going around.
I'm being very serious.
Oh god. No, it's retro anime. It's all anime that's before 2000 that came out. We even do have our own discussion. So. That's out there. There's some other podcasts I'd like to shout out, and that's the PNG podcast at Dayspace. It's rambunctious, all kinds of different shit going on along there. And that's Kevin, do you have any other podcasts you'd like to bring up?
I have a couple. Number one is where I live. There are these guys called Second Opinion Games. They're somewhere around the Connecticut area, and I met them a couple times. Super nice podcast. It's like pretty much two guys doing the whole podcast, and they're highly ranked on iTunes all the time. And
cool.
The other one I want to mention is they're pretty big. They've been doing it for 10 years. It's called Video Game Outsiders. I've never seen like a big podcast that's really interactive with their community. Like you can tweet at them personally and they will answer you. You know, you can leave voicemails and they'll play them on the show. Really nice to see like a big podcast who like actually interacts with people. So Those are the main two I want to get out there.
Okay. Well, Kevin, what's going on in your life here? Because I've had a bad summer, and I don't want to bring the podcast negativity into this.
Well, I'm not much better. I've been working anywhere between 60 to 84-hour weeks. I've had no free time playing all these games for the podcast, at least to dabble in them, which I'll give a forewarning. I've dabbled in most of them. I'm squeezing it in. I'm finally getting on like a normal work schedule. Slowly. I don't know how long it's going to last, but it's sad when a 40-hour week feels like a vacation. So, doing that. I'm kind of with you on that one. Yeah, I'm trying to. I did a couple jiu-jitsu tournaments. One went my way. One was okay, but I realized like my cardio is kind of crap, so I started doing Insanity again. It hurts every time, so that sucks.
True fact.
But I'm trying to get down to 220 pounds because I was hanging around at 250 for a while. And as of yesterday, it was 236. So in a month, I've lost, what's that math, 14? Not bad.
Well, they say 2 pounds a week is probably
ideal.
The healthy way to go.
Yeah.
You've seemed to have gone way over that. But you probably have more pounds to lose than someone like me, who, if I lose a pound in a month, it's like, yes.
Yeah. Well,
because I'm really small.
From wrestling, I learned a couple, some tricks and tips for cutting weight. Are we going to go over...
Sweatpants in a sauna?
Oh, I do have a sauna suit. Are we going to go over other things you've been playing besides the podcast games, or should I not overstep?
Absolutely. I'd love to go over that. What have you been playing besides the podcast games?
Well, for the Game of the Month Club I run, which is called Game Clubs, you could find it on the old Facebooks. We have... What was July? July we played Dead Space Extraction and Okami is our RPG of the quarter. Dead Space Extraction sucks. I played, to be fair, I played on...
Is that the Wii U version of Dead Space?
No, that was the Wii version. That was the rail shooter, but it was also on the PS3, which I didn't know.
Oh,
and if you play on the PS3 without the Move controller, like I did, it's boring. I played 2 levels, I was like, this sucks. I should have played on Wii, which is the only time I'll ever say that. And then Okami's fine. It's just... like, it's a really pretty game, but I feel like it's like stupid easy. So like I'm kind of just running through it. I'm using a guide because I don't have time to get lost. But it's just like it's so easy. I'm like, whatever. And I started Mega Man Zero 2, which
well before you go, what platform are you playing Okami on?
Oh, PS3, the HD version.
Oh, okay.
So
I have the Wii version. I actually love the motion controls in that.
It's fine on Wii, and I would have played it that way. It just there was a flash and it was like $1. I was like, it's a pretty game already. Let's make it prettier. So, Mega Man Zero 2. That game is less hard than 0-1, but still kick you in the nuts and make you cry. So, I love the Zero series. It's funny because Mega Man's always been about like using a gun and pew-pewing. Screw that. Right. Sword all the time. Just running through people, cartwheeling with a sword, cutting enemies in half. Like, the gun takes like 3 hits. I'm like, nah, fuck this. I'm almost done with that game, but I'm at the boss rush and I keep dying a lot. So, maybe I'll beat it this week.
Oh, wow.
What have you been up to?
Well, I've been playing the piss out of some Crash Insanity trilogy. I 100%ed Crash Bandicoot on the remaster. And I don't know what everyone's talking about with the game being harder. I know the jumping's a bit different, but once you die a certain amount of times at a level, the mask comes, which it doesn't do that in the first game.
No, I thought.
And you can save after every level,
which is like a necessity because that was like a big flaw in the original Bandicoots.
Well, yeah, the only way you could save was beating a special stage.
Yeah, fuck that.
And some of those special stages are really hard.
They really are, actually.
And the other thing, I can't remember, but I believe in the special stages in the original, when you died, you're kicked out and you lose a life. While in the remaster here, you don't lose a life and you can keep going back into the special stage until you pass it.
Which is...
So I was never able to 100% the game as a kid, and I get this remaster, and I blew through it 100%ing it. And now I'm on Crash 2 and trying to get used to the slide jump control that's in the game. That was what they added, and that's pretty hard to go from the first to the second game.
Yeah, I got that trilogy recently for my birthday, and the jumping arcs are a little different than original Crash, I've noticed. So like it takes some getting used to it first, but once you play it for like a time or two, you're fine.
Oh yeah, it took me just a few levels, and I was like, oh okay, so he like lands a bit quicker, and the I guess the hitbox is rounded as opposed to square. So he like on the bridge levels, he definitely falls a lot easier,
right,
than in the first one. That's for sure. But luckily, there's only 2 of those levels.
I mean, it's a fun trilogy. I wish I gotta play more of it. I haven't really messed with Crash a whole lot in my life.
Oh my god, I'm beating every level with Coco because it's so fun.
Is there a difference between him and her and Crash?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay.
It's just you just get to be Coco.
All right, works for me.
Yeah, and then the other game I was playing is Splatoon 2, which takes us into our topic of, is a Switch worth buying?
That was sneaky.
Yeah.
It was very sneaky.
And it's, with the big release of Splatoon 2, what I was worried about, and what a lot of people were worried about, was, is there going to be a bundle for the Switch around this time? Because a lot of people are looking for a bundle at this point. And that was the original concern. Why wasn't there a bundle at launch with Breath of the Wild? Well, I mean, everyone knows that game's going to sell like hotcakes, and it did, so why sell it in a bundle when you can make an extra, like, $60 to $100 wherever you're buying the game from?
Because it's good consumer practice. That's why. Put good faith out.
They put the good faith out with the release of Splatoon 2, and there was a bundle with Mario Kart Deluxe, actually. That's a very good bundle, especially if you didn't buy a Wii U. which we'll get into that. Kevin, you're gonna play the no guy, and I'm gonna play the yes guy.
I mean, yeah, we'll get into it.
We kind of hinted at each other. That's kind of the route we're taking on this topic.
I'm not there yet. I'm waiting. I'm not saying it will never be worth it. I'm waiting right now.
So, I'd like to run some numbers.
Oh boy.
With you over the Switch and how it's doing. You ready for this?
Yes, sir.
So, as of now, and its current pace, Nintendo is expecting to ship 10 million Nintendo Switches by the end of the year. And to put that number in perspective, they've already sold almost 3 million. And I'm taking this from an article I found on extremetech.com.
Dream Tech.
Extreme Tech.
Oh, Extreme Tech. I thought it said Dream Tech. I'm like,
no,
okay.
Extreme Tech.
That sounds like a Chinese website if I've ever heard one.
Yeah. And to put that number in perspective, the Wii U sold in its entire run 13 million consoles. So not even a year will go by, and it looks like the Switch is basically going to hit the Wii U's number. That's good. That's very good for Nintendo. That means they're doing something right.
They are doing something right, and the Switch looks good. It feels good. Overall, it's a fine package. I can't lie about that.
It's crazy. I'm quite enjoying the Switch. I don't regret buying it for 1 second. My mom was visiting because I've been having a hard time summer. It's been a bad time, and yeah, my mom came, and I was very happy to get a hug from her. So it's been a rough time.
You're like, hey mom, have you played my Switch yet? I got Splatoon.
Well, we were just kind of chilling. I was done working for the day, and I popped up Splatoon 2, and she was having so much fun. She played it a bit. I played it a bit. She wasn't any good at it, but she didn't care. It was fun. She liked using all the weapon. Her favorite weapon in Splatoon 2, I refer to it as the pop gun. All it does is fire in a straight line, a load of paint, and then it explodes. And she was making the jokes, it's like a dude ejaculating paint.
Your mom sounds cool.
And she goes, I can't wait to get a guy in the face and kill him with my paint ejaculation. I go, Mom, are you kidding me?
I've been through some shit, kid, alright? Let me have this.
It was so funny. She had no interest in winning for the team. All she wanted to do was kill someone with the pop gun. And meanwhile, my weapon of choice was just a bucket in which you just throw paint at people, and you can just see people's reactions. I finally tried out the in-game speak app that Nintendo's using.
Stop that! Don't do it ever again.
It's fine. It cuts in and out a lot. It's an app.
It's bad.
If you have an older phone, your phone's gonna crash with that app all the time. It's very finicky. It's not a good product, but when it did work, it was quite funny to hear people's reactions. So
can we, while you're on the voice thing, there's my first big issue with the Switch is that whole setup for the headset. Number one is just why. I can't figure that one out. Why they decided to do that, and two, I heard a rumor that there isn't enough RAM in the Switch because it was a handheld to make that work. You can't do voice chat through it. Wouldn't that be something you could think about, at all?
I don't know. With today's technology, I can definitely see why they chose to save some space and with the RAM limitations, why they went that route.
Which is fine. It's just you can't have your phone go to sleep, which is silly.
No, and that happened to me constantly.
Which is I can understand all this thing. If they want to do the phone app thing, I was at the point where I was like, okay, if I can run the phone app and just plug headphones or a Bluetooth headset on and have this running, I could see it working. But they made it it's those little stupid Nintendo moves. It's what you mean I can't put my phone to sleep? Or don't check your messages or do anything else, and it's just the app's done. So you might as well use Discord or something.
When I'm playing with a few friends, I've been using Discord.
Yeah,
too.
That we don't have to hear little
to
kids
communicate with them. Yeah, no, they're a couple college friends, one high school friend. That also entails them having Switches, but only a few do.
Yeah.
The other numbers that I want to lay out, and this is probably the best one. This is from BusinessInsider.com. This is the one I find most fascinating. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
In the first quarter of release, and that entails the Wii, Wii U, and Switch. I got the comparison on all of them. Is the Wii sold 2.86 million units in its first quarter. The Wii U 2.66, and the Switch 2.74. So they're all kind of in the same ballpark of each other. Hardcore Nintendo fans will buy the new Nintendo console.
Always.
So those numbers haven't changed. The most interesting is the software sales and how much money they've made. The Wii went 13.7 million because that was the beginning of the Virtual Console.
Respectable.
The Wii U had a Virtual Console upon release, if I'm not mistaken, right, Kevin?
The Wii U did not have it right away.
But it did come out in the first quarter, correct?
I want to say, no, you know what? It didn't. I remember this because I was sitting in class and I was waiting for the Virtual Console to be released, and the only thing it had was you can go into the Wii menu and use the Wii's Virtual Console. So if you want to count that,
that's what it was. What it was.
And I felt real stupid. So, I was like, I'm waiting to play this, and it wouldn't work.
Well, all these people buy a Wii U. They go into the Wii Virtual Console because that was an ability because that was already there, and because you have a new device, you'd have to repurchase a lot of the games. So that led to 10.17 million in sales. So 13.7 for the Wii, 10.17 for the Wii U. Basically, a lot of people were repurchasing old games that they had already done.
An account system would be cool.
So there's rumors that Nintendo are going to start that with the Switch, but who cares? I don't even know what to make of it anymore. Now, with the Switch being released, there isn't a lot of software available on the system at all. There's no Virtual Console. It's just a bunch of Neo Geo games and a few games that come out virtually, and a lot of the new titles you can also purchase from the store on the Switch. Switch has only sold 5.46 million. So, based on this data, they're missing a lot of revenue not having a Virtual Console.
Which is sad, because that's like... I know everyone's like, oh, you could emulate it, you could do whatever, but like, it's nice to actually like have it and kind of own it in a way, whether your stance on digitals or not. But at the same time, I'm like, if Nintendo doesn't give me an account and I have to buy Mario Brothers for the 4th time, like, I just don't want to do it either, you know?
Hey, I mean, the numbers don't lie. They're missing out on sales. The hardware's doing well, but the pace at which the hardware's selling and their production ability looks like it's going to blow the Wii U out of the water, and it won't even be close. It's almost at Wii levels of sales, and the Wii was a freak when it came out in sales. It was the best-selling console of its generation.
It was the most successful dust collector ever.
I mean, I still play the Wii.
No, but I'm saying, like, most people that bought it, like, bought the Wii, was like, oh, Wii Sports is real fun, and then they never used it again, you know?
Oh, well, yeah, and that's one major difference we've seen between the Wii and the Switch, is the Switch, you have a lot of hardcore fans coming back to this console.
Good. That's what Nintendo needs.
And that's exactly what Nintendo needed. So those are the numbers. Now let's go into the real thing. I'd like to... Is a Switch worth buying? Now, Kevin, we'll start with you. The major games that have come out for the Switch is Breath of the Wild Zelda.
On Wii U.
ARMS.
Yeah.
Mario Kart Deluxe.
Also on Wii U.
And Splatoon 2.
Splatoon with a couple more features.
Sure.
I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad game. I'm just like, I don't know, I'm not in a rush to really play either. Because, like, from everything I've seen, I have not played it. It just looks like more Splatoon, which isn't a bad thing. I'm just like, I've experienced that before, kind of thing, you know?
The comparison I make with Splatoon 2 is Mario Galaxy 2.
Yeah, so that's the thing. It's very similar. I don't feel like it's enough of a new experience right now for me, and I'm a little upset at like things I've seen in Splatoon 2 that are like some quality of life improvements. Like you have to back out to go switch your weapon. Like why? Just let me do it in that menu.
Well, there is a quicker interface.
Yeah,
but yeah, you do have to go to that menu.
Or like if you want to play a horde mode, you can only go at certain times for some reason.
Yeah, there's some weird things. I have definitely been playing more of the online than I did with the first Splatoon.
Right.
But that has a lot to do with the portable aspect. And the single player story mode is basically exactly the same as the first one. With the funny boss battle, you get your linear levels to throw paint around, kill some dudes, and then a quirky little boss battle at the end. Again, not necessarily a bad thing. I'm sure people wanted a more in-depth story for the single player,
right?
But it is more of the same. Do I regret buying Splatoon 2? Absolutely not.
Oh no, I'd tell you to buy Splatoon 2 any day. It's just, I don't know, I'm not there yet. I need just something else from the system. And I think that something else will be Mario Odyssey. Provided it's the way I want and not Mario 3D World. Because the thing that sucked about Mario 3D World is like, they were just like random blotches of land floating in the sky. And like nothing felt connected. So like I kind of want like a Mario 64 experience, which it seems like it's going to be.
That seems exactly like it's going to go that route.
So I'm kind of excited for that if it comes out the way I want. It'll be Mario Odyssey. But like beyond that, I think the Rabbids game I want to play.
You know what? I think I'm totally with you on that.
Yeah, it's XCOM.
I don't know why I want it.
It's XCOM. That's why.
But I need it in my life.
It's literally Mario XCOM. Like I want that. So like I have those two games I want, but like the main thing that just bothers me, and I said it before, is like I want an account system because like I don't mind buying things digitally, but I need to know like anything I buy is backed up. Like I lost my Smash Brothers DLC because I had to replace my 3DS. So It's just like, yep, sucks to be you, guy. Like, and I can call Nintendo. They're like, well, how do we know you purchased it? I'm like, maybe if you had a fucking account, I could tell you. So I don't know. It's just those. It's little Nintendo things to fix, but they also need, and then it's going to be rough because they don't have the horsepower to put a lot of third party things on there. But like you need a mix of first and third parties to sell the system. Like,
well, I mean, that's kind of detracting from where we're going right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll it back.
I mean, the third party's gonna. I mean, what's on the plate for the Switch is 2018 is when third party's coming.
Yeah, and
the first party is this year right now in the present for is a Switch worth buying? So, Kevin, you make the joke, you make a certain joke about why you haven't personally bought a Switch yet. What is that?
Games be expensive? There's that one. Which one are you looking for? Because
you got a few. So
one example is like Binding of Isaac is how much on a Switch? I think it's like it's like 40. That's a little indie game. I get you're getting a cartridge and you have a physical copy of it, but like it's 15 on PSN. Like, do I really want to pay that extra money for a game that's been out for a long time? Like,
or you can get it on a Steam sale or something.
And honestly, a game like Binding of Isaac isn't something I'd want to keep a cartridge for because like it's something you pick up, play quick. Like, I'd rather have it downloaded just to take a break from Zelda or something. Mm-hmm. Or like Street Fighter 2. Like, I don't see why anyone was super hyped about Ultra Street Fighter 2. It's Street Fighter 2 again. It's on literally everything. And
fighting game community, man.
Which is fine, but it already came out on 360 and PS3. It's like a 5-year-old game, and they're selling it for $40. I bought it for $10.
You know, I actually blame Capcom for that, not so much Nintendo.
Oh no, it's definitely Capcom's fault. I understand that. But it's like the pricing of Switch games is like you have to pay that Nintendo tax. Like, things are just generally more expensive. Like, the controller alone is $70.
Yeah.
That's when your controller's worth more than your games, like, I'm just like, that's a little steep. I know it's got some HD rumble and the NFC reader, but I'm like, it's a controller. Like, I don't.
You bring up the rumble. I'm really enjoying the rumble feature in the game.
Not that it's not good, but I don't know who's going to use that HD feature ever.
Yeah, I do wish there was a little bit more feedback in Splatoon 2, like there was in Breath of the Wild for the rumble feature.
What do they use it in that for?
I don't know, it felt like there was, when I got hit, only the right side, if I got hit from the right side, the right side of the rumble would, that would be the only part that would rumble, and the left side would barely get any feedback. In Splatoon 2, the whole thing shakes, so it's not really utilizing even just that little trick.
Side note, if you ever play Splatoon on the Wii U and use the tablet, turn that rumble off. Because I remember that game was impossible. Because any time like paint hit anywhere, it was like...
Yeah, it was... Yeah, I do remember that. It didn't bother me, though.
Oh, it was terrible. It was worse than Wonderful 101.
So, Kevin, do you have Breath of the Wild on the Wii U?
I do. I got it July 9th. Why? Because why do I have to buy a $300 system to play a Zelda game? The Switch version is a port of the Wii U one anyway, so I'm not missing anything.
No, actually, the Wii U is a port of the Switch version.
I will totally debate you on this because I know for a fact it's a Wii U. The Switch one's the Wii U port. I will fight you.
Why is the Switch one better then?
It's not better. It's the same game. I'm saying I'm not missing out on anything by buying it on the Wii U. The only thing I'm missing out on is I can't take it on the go. And honestly, I've tried taking Zelda games on the go. I won't anymore because I normally get stuck, have to look at the guide, and it's a mess to fumble my phone and like the system. So I don't know. I just need a solid killer app for the Switch for me to buy it, and not a port of an older game. Like, people are losing their shit over Skyrim on Switch, and I cannot figure that one out. Like, it's cool to bring...
Skyrim's popular. It's I'm the same boat with you on that. I don't know why people are hyped about a game that's X amount of years old.
It's fine. And Skyrim can be popular, but it's vanilla Skyrim. Like, it's not even, like, the remastered. And everyone's like, but Zelda mods. I'm like, cool, Malibu Stacy got a new hat. I got it, but it's Skyrim. Like, it's been out for 6 years almost. It should... Man. And it's going to be $60, I'm sure, right?
$80 in Canada.
Great, you're selling me more. I'm just waiting for, like any system. I didn't even buy a PS4 at launch because there were so many remasters and like the same things being churned out. So I'm just waiting for like Metroid's coming out eventually. Then I'll probably definitely get one if I don't have one by then. I would like a proper Star Fox. Not Zero. Actually, you know what? Let me rephrase that. Not Star Fox 64 again.
Right.
Like ever since.
Which was Star Fox again.
Yeah, exactly. I just want Nintendo to like take things I love and make new games for them. Backed up by, I don't need like a port of something on PS4, but like, let Namco make something new. Who else is behind them? I don't know. Just give me things I can only get on Switch.
Okay. So you want more exclusive, basically.
Yeah, that's what sells
not
the
anything,
system.
and not any more ports.
Yeah, I mean, you could have some, but I don't want the number to overflow original content.
So you're one of the few people that has a Wii U. I have one as well.
I'm one of the 4. Yep.
Yeah. So if you have a Wii U right now, and you don't have the disposable income to justify a $300 purchase, or $4 or $5, depending where you live, to be my own devil's advocate, no, I don't think a Switch is worth it right now. I think in time, it will be, just like you mentioned with the PS4. The PS3 was so good and had so many games, and the PS4
had the same games.
And a lot of people bought a PS3, so the PS4 was just remastering and putting out those same games. Does that justify buying the new console? No. And the fact that PlayStation immediately hits the market with a new model 1 or 2 years after launch, why bother?
Yeah.
So there was that. That's a great comparison and a great example of why you shouldn't buy one.
Yeah. And luckily,
I made the decision, and I did have I did save previously to the Switch coming out with the anticipation that Breath of the Wild is going to be the launch game. I'm going to play the crap out of that. That's going to be a major reasoning to buy a Switch, to make the transition, you might say.
Make the Switch.
Make the Switch. I wasn't going to do it.
I
but
had to. It was there.
You did it for me. Yeah. Make the Switch to the Switch, and then over time I could build the library. But that, of course, I had to save and have the disposable income to do it. If I didn't have it, would I have gone out of my way to justify the Switch purchase? No, I in fact would have done your route, Kevin, of just buying Breath of the Wild on the Wii U and call it good. Especially with the fact that I already had Mario Kart 8 and I already had Splatoon. And they're not Mario Kart 8 is just, or Deluxe is just 8 with the DLC and a couple more tracks, and Splatoon 2 is the Mario Galaxy 2 of the game. It's more of the same, with a few more mechanics and fleshed out. I'm not saying they're bad games. I'm just saying if you already have those and you've already dived into the Wii U as a gamer, then no, at this point, it's not worth it. But a lot of people didn't buy a Wii U. Period.
Right.
That's a fact.
Which is
13 million. Only 13 million people worldwide bought one.
And that's kind of why I justify like some of the remasters for Mario Kart and Pokken and stuff coming to Switch, because again, not a lot of people bought a Wii U. So I get it. It's just for me right now, I am one of the few that bought a Wii U, so I personally am not sold. I'm fine with porting things over for the people that were like, wait, there was an 8th Mario Kart on this Wii U thing? What's that, you know?
Oh, exactly. So getting into where I wanted to go is, due to the fact that the Wii U didn't sell as well as Nintendo wanted. It sold well enough for them to not like go bankrupt or anything. You know, it didn't go full Sega Saturn on them.
It went like Sega CD on them, though.
A little bit. Luckily, Nintendo has a good history with selling consoles, so they didn't really have to. I mean, the Wii kind of saved them for a good 15 years.
Yeah.
You know, and including the Switch selling well now. Now they're golden. They're golden street. So we can definitely probably expect Smash ported over, Smash Wii U. It'll be Smash Deluxe. I imagine what it'd be called.
I'm glad they stopped doing like Switch for Smash, like name it after their like system or something.
Right. Oh. I do like that they brought Mario Kart over immediately, but the bummer is that's probably going to be the only Mario Kart we're going to get for the Switch, which
might be the same fate for Smash Brothers too.
Yeah, exactly.
Which would really suck.
That makes me disappointed, but luckily it looks like the Switch is going to pump out a lot of other games.
I mean, I hope. It's just the problem is the controllers it comes with, those little Joy-Cons. They're not.
I love them.
They're fine, but like your thumb doesn't naturally move in that little up and down motion. It needs an arc. So like having the sticks directly like over and under buttons is kind of weird when I held it, at least. And I don't see like a lot of companies like utilizing them for like obviously to play 2-player, because you're missing another analog stick, another set of shoulder buttons, and like the placement of that stick is weird. So I just feel like there's a lot of extra stuff on the Switch that isn't going to be utilized, and companies are going to be like, I don't know if it's worth it, kind of thing, you know? Like that's why I
don't know.
Namco
it looks
would be
like
the guys.
It looks like because the Switch is portable. It looks like if there's going to be a multiplayer game, such as with Mario Kart, the amount of buttons on the controller. Let's take a single Joy-Con. The amount of buttons needed are there.
Yeah,
and you can make games with less controls. You don't have to have and even some of the games on the podcast didn't use all the buttons on a controller, which maybe they should have.
Right, but you can make a game port with less buttons, but is a developer going to take the time to do that?
I think they will, especially with how the Switch is selling, and any game that gets put on the Switch is selling really well. Take ARMS for an example, a game that I think is a pick up and play, and you play for maybe an hour with a friend, and you've pretty much played the whole game. A lot of people like it. It has sold at this point 1.18 million copies of the game. That's insane for a game that's not like it's not up to the par as Zelda or Splatoon.
I want to see the attachment rate for ARMS though. I want to see how many people kept it. Because I heard a lot of people going, yeah, ARMS is fun, but if I'm playing by myself, this is kind of lame. So,
well, that's the thing. I don't see it going to be a long-lasting game, but fuck, it sold well.
It did sell.
Everything's selling well on the Switch.
So you could say ARMS has legs. Easiest joke ever. I think everyone's used it, so I'm late to that. But
this is what you come here for.
Yeah, dad jokes. I don't know. I see potential in the Switch. I really do. There's just like little things about it that make me not want it. Like I want an account. I don't want my games to be overpriced because they're new ports. I hate the Joy-Cons, and I just want a cheaper, normal controller to use. And now that all the beta testing's done with like switches bending in the dock and like the dock scratching stuff, like those problems are kind of getting worked out. So like the second revision of them, like when a company makes new hardware, they don't tell anybody kind of thing. I think it'll be a little better. Like people have already found a workaround for the dock too, which I'm already gonna do immediately when I get one. It's just
what is that?
Just get a USB extension cord, a USB-C extension cord, and plug it into the dock and then into your Switch. That way you never have to actually put it in the dock. So
I like that little novelty, but I treat my stuff well.
Yeah.
So
I mean I do too, but I
don't slam it in. I've been over to a friend. It looks like he throws the Switch into the dock. I go, well, that's why your fucking Switch is scratched. Dude, look what you do to it.
Dude, my buddy's bent. I thought that was like one guy from Polygon who did that. His is bent. His Switch is actually bent from the dock. And I was just like, oh, man. I don't know.
I think it's 50-50. I know people overheat their Switches, and that's what bent it.
But like that dock doesn't have a lot of ventilation either.
No.
And then, so I got into a fight with my buddy. He's like, well, they tried to keep a slim design, so, I'm like, okay, it doesn't cost a lot to put holes on the thing. And then I was talking about how the screen scratches. Like, and look, if there was more space for it to breathe, it wouldn't be up against the side, and then it wouldn't scratch the screen. Like, it's those little Nintendo things that, like, are just huge oversights.
Yeah, so maybe, I don't see... I mean, Nintendo doesn't do a lot of console revisions. Maybe they'll do one with this one a year from now.
Every time Nintendo makes a console revision, though, like a major one, it is always worse. Like, look at the NES to the NES, 2. They took away composite. Like, now you only had RF.
Right.
You take the Super Nintendo to the Super Nintendo Junior, where, I think it lost, the ability to do any kind of RGB input, which you gotta be into, obviously, to get.
Right.
Wii to Wii Mini. No internet at all, guys. Suck it, nerds. It's so I hope they, don't make a Switch and they're like, we made a Switch Mini. It's, as big as an iPhone. Good luck. That would be oh, boy. I will say that is the other thing with the Switch I can't do is, I don't see me taking that portably anywhere. It's too big.
It's not as big as you think, that's for sure.
Oh, I held one. I got to play with it. The tablet itself was fine, but you throw Joy-Cons on it. Now I can't carry that in a bag. So
what I do is, to protect it and not, ruin the Joy-Cons in any way, I take the Joy-Cons off, I keep the tablet separate, and then I just throw the Joy-Cons, at the bottom of the bag.
See, I'm afraid something getting crushed or scratched or something. I just wish it had some kind of, even if it was a cheap little iPad kind of cover that I could fold on the back or something. I wish I had that.
I mean, they sell things like that.
Yeah.
So
I guess.
So ultimately, you're not sold yet,
Nope.
Kevin, but you think you will be.
I will be eventually.
Much like the PS4?
Yeah, that once the what was my killer? I mean, I'm a Killzone fan, and Shadowfall didn't even get me. I think I bought it. I really want it when Uncharted 4 got announced. I was like, there we go. This is it.
That's what did it for me too. And there was enough of a library built up at that point as well. In my opinion is, if you have a Wii U, you might want to wait until Odyssey comes out, Mario. If you don't have a Wii U, I think the Switch is totally worth it right now for what games are available. So
yeah, I wait it out, see if you want it. I don't know. I'm not there yet. Once something cool comes out. Metroid 5. Not Prime 5, just 5.
So, our next topic is emulators.
Use them. That's all I got. That was the whole topic. End of the show. No, emulators are a sketchy subject that people, especially in the retro gaming community, people treat emulators like you're killing children. And I never really got that because, as we all know, cartridge games are kind of crazy expensive. Especially right now.
Yeah, they're getting pretty bad now.
I actually went to my local shop, and they said everything's going up right now when it comes to cartridges because of the NES Classic. It, spiked people's memories, and now they want to play all their old games. So you already had people who are already nostalgic, but now you have more people who got an NES Classic or heard about it, and they're just like, man, I kind of want to go play those. So, everything's skyrocketing right now, around here at least.
Especially the games that were on the NES Classic.
Yeah. So, around January last year, I think I've said it before, I sold all my cartridge games. And I took a break, and I was like, you know what, maybe I want a couple. And then immediately I was like, no, I can't do this. I was reminded of the prices. And now, which I can never understand, because there's an easy, free way to play most of those games. And you almost don't want to say it around some people because they look down at you. But things like Little Samson, Panic Restaurant, not Demon's Crest. I guess that one's kind of acceptable. But things that are so expensive that are anything can your phone can run a Super Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
It's just an easy way to do it. There's so many ways. And actually, like Castlevania 3, I can't find a copy anywhere. So my options are eBay, buy it on the Wii U Virtual Console or 3DS, or what we're going to talk about for our topic, I actually bought a little Bluetooth controller for my phone and played it at break or on break at work. It's just there's so many ways to access these really good classics that I feel like people are ignoring for the sole purpose of to raise their retro gaming EP-ness.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Are you getting a little bit of that at all?
No, they kind of see it as I have the actual console and cart, therefore they get this elitist attitude.
Right.
And it gets irritating because do I want to buy a TurboGrafx CD? That thing's shit.
And also,
most of them don't work.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
So why would and then the games are expensive too. Okay, or I can say, you know what? I have a PC Engine. Those games are kind of expensive too. I'll get the ones that I really want. I won't go over, because I have a personal limit on how much I'll pay for a retro game. But a game like Super Air Zonk on the Turbo CD, I can get on the Virtual Console for $4.
Which is worth it.
And I know that's going to work.
Yeah. I think the limit is really, for most people, accessibly. Once you hit N64 and PS1 era, once things start getting 3D, emulation gets a little weird, depending on what you can run.
Right, yeah, that's where it gets a little tricky, and we'll because a lot of these games I did have to play on an emulator,
right,
or I got on the Virtual Console.
Yeah, and it's those again, almost anything can run it, but luckily, it just coincidentally, I guess fate works in some ways, that the price points are really high up to the 16-bit era. You got your PS1 and N64 games that are out there, like any system, but luckily the games that are most accessible happen to be like 8 and 16-bit. So like people have the ability. It's just like I just can't understand the mentality of like I have to have a little Samson. I want to play it. Why don't you just emulate it for free? Don't you speak to me with your whore mouth ever again? You know.
So I have my own personal like emulation rule.
Yeah.
What I like doing is, and we'll get into devices and whatnot that we prefer using, because everyone emulates different. I've tried the phone emulation before. I hate it because there's no controller.
Well, again, you can get a little Bluetooth one.
You can, but even just on the phone in general, I just don't like it.
Right.
Because phones aren't meant to play games in the first place.
But if it can run Mario Brothers, it will. It's a rule of life, essentially.
So what I like doing is I like using my emulation device of choice to demo a game.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like what we do here on the podcast. We play a bit of the game, and if I really like it, I will go out and buy it in some form or fashion. If I know I'm going to like it, I will immediately go to the Virtual Console if it's available on there and buy it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And in the collector in me, then I'll get the cartridge down the line at some point if I see it.
See, we're very similar on our morals for this, but you're taking an extra step where I'm a cheap bastard. So my rules are: I look up number one, the cartridge and how much it costs. The game to game, I'll debate what's allowed or not in my mind. You know, like Vice Project Doom. If I see it for $20, I'll buy it. But if I see Mario Brothers Duck Hunt for like $10, I'm like, you can go to hell. No, step number two that I take is there a legal digital re-release of it somewhere? Or a physical re-release, which is almost never. Like, well, you get Wild Guns on PS4. But like, Castlevania 3 again. Okay, I can't find a cartridge. eBay, $35. No, don't want to pay that. And it's on the 3DS and Wii U. So I'll tend to purchase it and play it there. And then if I actually play it on there, is a different story. Like, okay, I bought on the Wii U. I've legally given Nintendo my money for owning, quote, this. Because that shows you support the release. You support them keeping old games alive and, like, not letting them just fall to obscurity. Mm-hmm. So, and then, now that I've legally purchased it from them in some way, now I feel I have the freedom to do what I want. I'll play it on my computer, my Wii U, my 3DS, my GPD XD over there, which we'll talk about. Like, now I'm free. I bought it from you. And then third option is, let's use Panic Restaurant, because I can't think of anything else, is, okay, not viable to buy. Not on Virtual Console. Third option is, fuck you, I'm going to emulate it now.
Yeah, there's even a lot of debate in the anime community with how you watch anime.
Really?
Like that. Oh, yeah. If there's no legal stream of it.
Pirate Bay, motherfuckers.
Say again?
Pirate Bay, motherfucker.
Well, I live in Canada, and internet companies shut you off if you use Pirate Bay.
Really?
But,
Scum.
Yeah, oh yeah. Canada's bad.
I'll pirate it for you, and then I'll send it to you.
So, there's similar mindsets of pirating or emulating in different communities. I use anime as an example because we actually had a piracy episode of anime near the beginning of the podcast. So, let's get into our devices. What do you say?
Yes, sir.
All right. You recently, and you mentioned it in the last podcast, your new device.
Yeah, my baby over there.
And it's really cool.
I wish we had a video podcast going to show it off. So it's this little device. It looks like a 3DS XL. It's an Android tablet, in quotes, instead of having a bottom screen on the touchscreen, it's a gamepad controller. So you have two actual analog sticks, an L3 and R3 button, your 4 face buttons, and a D-pad, along with 4 shoulder buttons on the back. I like that thing because it is a dedicated device for gaming. You know, yeah, it's a tablet, but it's got a purpose. And I like dedicated gaming machines. That's why I'm not a PC gamer. I like that thing. It's just because I don't really get into 3D with emulation because it gets all janky. It's got a lot of extra buttons. That's one of my main devices. My other is my laptop because while I don't have the carts and I have a system to play things, I can hook an HDMI cord right to it and just feel like I'm playing, NES, Super Nintendo, and I can pick whatever USB controller I want.
Right. I
actually recently just beat Metal Storm with a PS4 controller because I can't afford Metal Storm normally. And I'm a save scummer, which is my other favorite part of emulation because old games are bullshit. You're just not meant to beat some of them ever. But technology.
Oh yeah, we'll get into a game that I'm gonna call you a bitch ass for.
I don't care. Do it. And it's just, I don't know, like emulation gives me the ability to beat games that otherwise I would never beat. Which I think, I don't care if anyone calls me a bitch. Nobody's going to see the end of Battletoads any other way.
Well, okay, there are certain exceptions to the rule. I will admit.
But they all go by personal morals and values and shit. What do you use?
So that's your so you got your GPX whatever thing it's called.
Yeah. Fuck you. I love it. Oh, and my phone if I'm at work with a controller, but I don't prefer that way.
So I wasn't really into emulation at all until I was out of college and I started working offshore.
Mm-hmm.
I would just play the games I had and call it good. I couldn't be bothered with emulating. But when I started working offshore, I wanted something to do after killing myself in the middle of the ocean working. 12 to 16-hour shifts.
Don't throw yourself overboard, man.
Well, this was actually also at the time the Ouya came out. And I was interested in it because it was small, it was easily portable and hook up to a TV. You could also pair a PS3 controller up to it. I've seen people pair Wii controllers up to it. The Ouya controller isn't very good, but it does work.
Yeah, work.
It does work, so that's saying something. But the other thing that it ended up being good for was emulating. There's a lot of good emulators on there for PC Engine, Nintendo, all the Nintendo consoles up to the N64.
Mm-hmm.
You could do all the Sega consoles except the Saturn. Even the Dreamcast would work on most games. PlayStation worked really well, but you had to install an emulator online from it.
Yeah.
But the point is, they did all work, and it was very easy to map buttons to whatever controller you were using. And I would use primarily a PS3 controller, one without a rumble feature, because I wouldn't use it otherwise.
Yeah, see, well, when you're talking about the PlayStation 1 thing, that's what I'm talking about when it gets into 3D emulation. Like, it's easy to pop in a 2D game and it just runs. But like with N64 and PS1, it's always been like, this game works with these drivers and plugins. This one, you need these ones. And like, that's where I'm like, okay, well, this isn't worth it. Kind of thing.
Well, I've never... there are certain games on the N64 that are like that. Like, you can't really emulate Donkey Kong 64 very well. I think Perfect Dark is one of them as well. Like GoldenEye.
Right.
There's some games that just won't work, which I'm okay with. If I can't play everything, that's okay. I'm already kind of stealing.
See, I'm the opposite, where like, which is why again I can't be a PC gamer, because if one game doesn't work, I'll be like, fuck this. This thing's a waste of life. Like,
I'm not like that at all.
I'm trying not to be like that so much.
I've never had any issues with PlayStation games not working.
I had one. I think I had Legend of Dragoon didn't work on my PC real well.
Huh.
Weird.
I use EPSX or something.
Yeah.
Installed on my Ouya.
That one's an Android one I was using too, so it's got to be the same one, I think.
Yeah, and because the Ouya is an Android device, it's very... I just have a flash drive with a bunch of games in the back. It plugs right in the back, USB, no problem. And that's what I did offshore, and that's what got me into emulating, and that's what actually got me to trying out new games and expanding my collection. And I would actually go and physically buy it. Like, if I played a game offshore, and I loved it, and it was on the Virtual Console, hell yeah, I want to play say, this X Super Nintendo game on the Wii U Virtual Console. Like, there it is. Earthbound's a good example of that.
Yeah, Earthbound's like the first thing I emulated when I had Nuya, actually.
Yeah. So that's really the only emulation device I use, truly. I have things installed on my Android tablet. I can Bluetooth the PS3 controller to it, but if I'm gonna play a game portably, the way I usually end up doing is I play a portable game. I'll bust out a Game Boy or PSP or something.
Yeah. The thing is, like, I can't go back to handheld systems that didn't have a sleep function. Because I don't know how I did that. Like, how did we play on a normal Game Boy back in the day? It's just like, you can't save or shut it off right here. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm going to lose all my progress? Like, I don't know how we ever lived in that world now.
Well, the game was good enough that you would do it again.
I guess when you're a kid and it's nice to be like, all right, we're going down the street to Home Depot. Bring your Batman on your Game Boy. It's like, okay, and then you shut it off. You get to start over. I'm like, what was I doing? Like, I can't do that anymore. I'm an adult. Yeah,
you're kind of more on the go, and you can't really.
That's why save states are wonderful.
When you get older,
like I can't restart Earthworm Jim. I've been working at this for like 45 minutes. I'm not restarting. Save state, motherfucker. I'm an adult.
Oh boy. Well, you better find that warp on level 1 then.
There's a warp in Earthworm Jim?
Yeah, we discussed that, man.
I don't remember this. I just bought the HD version on PS3. I need to find it.
Yeah, top left of level 1, you'll find a warp.
So that also, not to go into a side thing, digital re-release, I also count like HD ports if they're good. Like Earthworm Jim HD. Like
Crash Bandicoot?
That's like a whole remaster. Like that gets all different. Kind of the same. I'd rather play those anyway. Like Earthworm Jim HD is literally the first game with like pretty. Yeah. So like that I count as like I own Earthworm Jim. But that's me.
So ultimately, if you want to emulate games, you're going to do it. If you I don't know, if you think you're morally superior just because you don't emulate, I don't agree with that at all.
Well, Nintendo emulates. That's how Virtual Console works.
Yeah, they emulate their own stuff. They have all the files. They can sell it. I know we all know that there's the capability of expanding the what's the word? The community little thing to tie it in to other consoles.
Yeah. The Miiverse there?
You know you know the capabilities there. If PlayStation do it, Nintendo can do it. They just choose not to.
Here's one thing that's real shitty about Nintendo is that don't lie to me and tell me that the new 3DS is the only one that can handle Super Nintendo games. That shit can run Ocarina of Time. Don't tell me it's not strong enough to run Super Nintendo games. They're like, no, you need the extra processor. And like people always come to bed like, well, to emulate, you need a certain amount of specs. I'm like, bullshit, this thing runs Ocarina of Time. Like, I don't need your speech. Like, I hate that about them. Like, they try to, like, talk down to people that, like, don't know how emulation works. They're like, that makes sense. I needed to buy a $200 thing to play Super Metroid. I'm like, your phone can run Super Metroid. Don't be stupid. Like...
Yeah, I'm wondering when that GameCube Virtual Console is going to come out, because there are definitely a couple games I'm immediately going to buy, and Smash Melee comes to mind, because that would be my new Smash for the Switch.
Yeah, I would.
Because that's $100+ game on the GameCube if you want to get it.
That's way too much money.
Mario Kart Double Dash, I would get that as well. But anyways, did you emulate any games for the podcast games that we're gonna discuss? All of them.
Well, yeah, pretty much all, actually.
I did 2 of them.
I had to. I couldn't find these. They're too expensive. Most of them. We'll get there.
Well, I bought a couple for the podcast because I knew I was gonna like them. And then a couple I wasn't sure, so I did the emulator, and I'm gonna buy them anyways. So this was actually a really good slew of games, I feel.
So is this our sneaky transition?
This is the transition.
Nice.
Yeah, nice indeed. So, second sequels. Here we go. So let me just write this down. Topic 104. Excellent. So, we're just going to go in order of us picking the games. So we'll go my 2, then Josh's 2, and then we'll finish out with your 2, since they're a bit more famous.
Yeah, I am?
Well.
What's that count by?
The games are.
Oh, I thought you meant me. I was like, I am.
Yeah.
I'm a big deal.
So our first game we're gonna talk about is my first pick, and it was Siphon Filter 3 on the Sony PlayStation.
Yeah.
And due to the fact that these are the third games in series, they came out much later. Such as this one came out in 2001 in November, so it barely
it barely counts as a
qualified.
PS1 game.
Published by Sony Computer Entertainment, as you do.
Mm-hmm.
Developed by SCE Bend Studio.
Who?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, wait.
Who indeed?
I know those guys made Uncharted Golden Abyss.
Did they now?
Yeah, I remember that now.
Well, they made all the Siphon Filter games.
Oh, alright then.
They made Resistance Retribution on the PlayStation Portable.
Mm.
And yes, you're right, Uncharted Golden Abyss on the Vita.
Yeah.
And they're actually the ones making Days Gone, the crazy zombie game that's coming
I
out.
thought that was an indie game.
Well, it's being developed by these guys.
Oh, maybe they can send the Days to Die. Never mind. They all sound the same.
So, yeah, this was a game I already owned, but I hadn't really dived into it because my first Siphon Filter experience was actually Omega Strain on the PlayStation 2, which was kind of the killer for the Siphon Filter series, honestly, but I still enjoyed it. It's a third-person action game where you're the main character, Gabriel Logan.
Such a bro name.
Oh, is this guy bro or what?
Yeah, he is.
Oh, man.
Gabriel Brogan, if you will.
Yeah, Gabriel Brogan. Fun fact, it's the last first-party non-sports game released on the Sony PlayStation.
What a specific thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, sports games are usually the last thing to come out on a console, and this was the last one that wasn't a sports game. And you get a lot of your shovelware kind of games as well, but...
Yeah, Just Dance 2001.
Right.
I wish.
Shit, they're still making Just Dance games for the Wii U.
Don't remind me. They're making it for the Wii as well. The normal Wii. Yeah.
Well, anyways, our story starts out, and this is a spy game. Kind of a James Bondy type of thing, or even better, a James Bourne kind of game.
I was going to say, it reminds me more of Bourne than James Bond.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. Gabriel Brogan here.
Yeah.
Tailing off after the second game, which I can't really remember what it was about, but shit went down, and now the Secretary of State, his name's Vince Haddon, wants to basically pin what went wrong at the end of the second game on Logan and the Brogan. I'm sorry.
It's gonna keep happening.
And the agency he represents, and it just wants to get all the things pinned on Brogan here, and but it kind of ignores that after that cutscene and goes immediately into this Chinese resistance army or rebel army.
I thought it was a triad.
Rebel.
From what I got. I mean,
no, it was more like a rebel organization that wants to cause mischief and terrorism and
just
and
steal kids' lunch money.
And Gabriel here is given the mission to assassinate basically all the main guys of this organization. And he has a sniper in the hotel room across, and you're in this third-person view of sniping all the dudes in the hotel room across. And it's fucking hard.
Which is like a really bad way to open a game, by the way. Especially
I kind of liked it because it goes, well, okay, it's a bad way to tell the story and then jump into this. Because you're like, well, what about the court case? Is Logan going to be arrested?
Well, it's not that. Maybe back in the day, this was fine, but it's such a weird way to start a game, from the PS1 era with, kind of awkward controls to like just go right into a sniping thing, and then like when you get
we'll definitely get into the controls.
Yeah,
here.
when you get seen, it was like, what do? I'm getting shot at. Like I'm out of sniper bullets. I didn't know how to handle myself.
So you're immediately given this mission, and you have to go up to the hotel room, get the sniper rifle from the bathtub, as you do, and snipe the guys. And it doesn't tell you at all what the controls are. So it's old school, just pick up, play, figure it out. You'll die a bunch, for sure.
I did die.
The little lady in your head is like, hey, maybe you should take the guy out on the roof first. He'll cause some issues. So it kind of hints at you of how immediately take guys out in an order to protect yourself. And there's certain things on the screen happening where you have a danger meter, and when the danger meter fills up, that's when you start getting hit with bullets. So I thought it was kind of funny where until the danger meter fills up, it's like stormtroopers firing at you. They're just bullets going everywhere around you, but they're not hitting you.
Yeah, it was kind of... I was like, so am I invincible? I'm not invincible. Like,
but if you get hit by like 2 bullets, you're dead.
So yeah, that's the thing. It's like a kind of fair trade-off. It's just the concept of it is weird.
So now we can get into the controls.
They're weird. They're not bad. They're just weird.
I would agree with that statement because I've already played it for the YouTube channel.
Right.
With my friend coming over, and I go, "Here you go. Try and beat level 1."
Which
by the way, the controls are weird.
See, you think that's bad? I played this on the Vita.
Oh no!
If you've ever used the Vita, you know the back touchpad. Those are your L2 and R2 buttons, right?
Yeah.
They don't work that well.
No, they don't.
So, like, trying to strafe in this game on the Vita, and I have a case on mine, so, like, I have to, like, put my fingers under some spot and, like, rub the clit a certain way before it gets, like, moist and wants me to do what I want it to do. And then, when I go play Siphon Filter, I do the same move.
The right analog stick also functions as the strafe, so you don't have to use L2 and R2.
Which is almost worse. Oh, like, it's, I don't know.
Because the character kind of doesn't exactly go left and right.
No, he goes
if you use the right analog stick.
He goes at, like, an angle.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. I found myself not strafing too much, honestly.
But, like, it's almost a necessity in, like, third-person and first-person games. For me, I don't know. I played Doom with the strafe button a lot.
Well, yeah. So... After you get a handle on the controls, I think it was triangle was to actually shoot. No, triangle was the action button.
Mm-hmm.
Circle was to activate the sniping part, and square was to shoot. So the control scheme mapping was what was weird, not actually the execution of the button or of the buttons.
Right.
It was just where they were located. So it was kind of odd, and that's what took so long to get used to. It wasn't that the game was hard in the fact that it was shit controls. It was just weird, awkward.
It was before we really standardized shooter controls, though. Like
right.
Mid-PS2
so going
era.
back and playing the game is what made it odd. I think playing it when it came out, it was just okay. These are the controls, no big deal.
So not bad overall, you'd say.
Yeah. Once you got used to it, the controls weren't bad at all.
Nice. I'd recommend it.
So once you pass the sniping mission, this is where you get into kind of the majority of the game, which is you're going down hallways shooting bad guys, and you're given a mission to either escape the area, save a girl, etc. It kind of goes in that vein of what the game is, and that's more of the Jason Bourne style stuff. And this is even harder than the sniping section. You die a lot. Like, try beating level 1 in under 20 deaths.
Yeah, well, like, the sniping part killed me enough, let alone, like, be even past that. I know what to do. I ran out of bullets. But then, you want to know what saved me? Go ahead, ask me.
What saved you?
The fucking taser, which has an unlimited range and lights people on fire.
Oh, it's amazing. I tried to beat level 1 only using the taser.
It should be the only weapon in the game. This laser can somehow reach across a city street and light people on fire. and then retract.
Oh my god,
somehow.
it can do that?
Yeah, if you just hold it down. It like, people just burn. They burst into flames.
Oh, I didn't know you could do the sniping section with the taser.
It's real awkward, but you can do it.
That's amazing.
It's pretty cool.
I gotta play level 1 again and try that.
It's cool, man.
So, for those that don't know, you're given a handgun, a sniper, and a taser. And the taser looks like just a brick in your hand, and it's pretty funny. But what happens is, the longer you hold it down, the tethers of the taser will extend until it hits the enemy. But if they move, you'll miss them, and it'll have to tether back to the character. But what's great about it is the longer you hold it down while the taser's on an enemy, he'll shake like he's having a frame seizure, and then he'll eventually catch on fire and burn to death. It's quite horrible.
It's lit.
Yes, in this case, it's actually lit. But what's funny is I've actually died because if you don't wait until the character's flames burn out, you can actually burn Brogan here.
Wait, you
and
can?
he'll die.
I didn't know that,
Yes.
actually.
Yeah, if you run right over the flaming corpse, you will then catch on fire yourself and die.
This is awesome.
So, basically what we're saying is Taser's great, and shotgun guys, eventually you'll come across, they're horrible. One aspect about the game as you're going through running down the hallways and stairwells and whatnot is you can go into this pseudo first-person view,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a target reticle that'll come up, and it will auto lock onto a character's head, and it'll even say headshot.
I like that it gets you
and
ready.
You'll one shot kills guys, and that's really cool. You can just strafe and spray, but it's not it won't seem as cool. I don't know. That's the way I felt as I was playing it. So what was some of your experiences playing level 1, Kevin? What was it difficult? Was it hard? What did you think of the mission?
Death. Hey, I did it, and I died again. It game's hard. If I played it on, well, I guess I could have played it on PS3 as opposed to my PS Vita.
Right.
But I didn't really have a whole lot of time, so I took it with me on the go. If I played it on PS3, I probably would have done a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
But that kind of goes with all PS1 games. Just don't play them on Vita because there's the touchscreen in the back kind of sucks, and you need that for most games.
Yeah, you kind of have to. Yeah, if you have the option of remapping the controls, I would definitely recommend it.
Yeah. If I gave it another shot, I'd probably recommend it higher. But don't play it on Vita. That's the only thing I can tell you.
Yeah.
Oh, and I can't imagine it on the PSP.
Ooh.
That'd be rough.
Well, I mean, you would be restricted to the right analyst stick for strafing.
Oh no.
Which isn't the worst thing in the world, but yeah, he does go on that weird diagonal.
That'd be weird.
The best thing, probably, besides the taser kills, is the fact that there are checkpoints.
Very spaced out checkpoints, though.
I don't know. It gave it a good challenge, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And it didn't feel unfair.
I guess I could see that. I kind of wish they were a little more frequent, but that's me being spoiled with modern games.
Well, let's take level 1 for example. You exit the hotel room. That's a checkpoint right after you beat the sniping mission.
Mm-hmm.
But until you get to the bottom of the stairs, that's your mission, is just to get to the bottom of the stairs. So it's go down the one hallway, kill the dudes, get down to the bottom of the stairs, and you're done. It's not that long, but the amount of enemies you have to kill are a lot. And again, you die in 2 hits from bullets.
Headshot.
So it kind of makes you memorize where a lot of the enemies come from.
So it's kind of like an old NES game in that regard. Yeah,
and I can really appreciate that. And a lot of the other Siphon Filter games, I hear are like that as well. What I want to do now is go back and play the first one, then the second one, and see the progression of the controls. So I'm wondering if the checkpoint system was new to this third game.
I want to say it is from my older brother playing the first two, but I can't remember, honestly. I don't feel like there were checkpoints in the old ones.
Yeah. I'm pleasantly surprised with Siphon Filter myself. I definitely recommend it.
Stamp of approval.
Especially as... Yeah, Red Leaf Retrocast stamp of approval here. Agreed, Kevin?
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, I can't wait to get more of the games. I want to get the first two because now I have 3 and 4, and the series is pretty much gone.
I think the last one was
cool.
the Logan Shadow on PSP.
Oh yeah, that did come out. Yeah, I'm not interested in that one.
All right then, never mind.
Yeah, I'm more interested in going back to the roots, 1 and 2 here. The game was definitely good, and wanting me to do that.
Why don't we let's hit up our next one on the list before we delve into Brogan's hair a little more.
Oh man, Gabriel Brogan, he's he's funny.
He's a handsome man.
So going from Jason Bourne style stuff, we're going to Austin Powers type stuff, cool. A different kind of spy work here, and that's Gex 3 Deep Cover Gecko. And this came out on the PlayStation and Nintendo 64 in 1999.
Oh yeah, it came out on
and there's even a Game Boy Color release as well, but we won't talk about that one.
Those don't exist.
I don't know anything about that one. I can't imagine it's any good.
It's probably not that great. Let's put it that way.
No. This one actually incorporated a save system. And while the first 2 games had the password, so it's very like Crash Bandicoot-y in that sense. But you're this gecko, and it's Austin Powers at its finest. It cracks sex jokes constantly. It hints at interspecies bestiality type stuff immediately.
It's on the cover of the game. Yeah.
You have what was Agent Extra. So Gex realizes that his lover, this hot 80s looking chick, Agent Extra, who's in a hot black latex or spandex onesie with big boobs, has been
the most tactical of combat gear you can wear, by
right?
The way.
Extra boobage is what a friend and I were calling her, Agent Extra Boobage. She's been kidnapped by some, I guess, terrorist organization or whatever, and she's in contact with Gex, and like, Gex, come save me. And the game immediately hits the comedy right away, and you go into worlds much like Banjo-Kazooie, if you're familiar with that, where it's a collectathon of certain items, and then it has, you could tell it's immediately influenced by Super Mario 64, in which you go to these worlds and you have different tasks in each of the world, and the worlds are much different from each other, such as a winter level, lava level, whatever you want to call it. It's very, very standardized in that sense. And it's developed it's developed by Crystal Dynamics and published by Eidos, which is the Tomb Raider remaster people. So it's got a solid team behind it.
Everything about this looks like every Rare platformer on N64.
Yes, it does. And this is obviously PlayStation's answer to that competition. But it was also on the N64, so I think the first 2 were only on PlayStation, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't remember, actually.
No, the first one was on everything. That was a 3DO game, actually.
Yeah, it was on PS1 as well.
And it was on the Sega Saturn. And
it was on the Saturn?
What about Gex 2? I'm not... Well, anyways, let's talk about Gex 3.
Yeah.
I overall quite enjoyed this game. I thought it was very funny. He spouts stupid one-liners all the time, like movie references and
really outdated movie references, by the way. Now,
oh god, it's great. Oh man, what did you think, Kevin, of the game itself?
Not that I didn't like it, but it wasn't unique enough for me to like care. Mm-hmm. Kind of thing. I played, what's the one? Okay, so I get this one mixed up with the other Gex game where he's in a suit on the cover.
Okay.
I think this isn't Deep Cover Gecko. What's the other one? I keep getting their names mixed up. But I always get it mixed up with that one. And they're so similar, it's just like, I played like a world or 2 of this, and I was like, yeah, I get it. Not that
The second one's Enter the Gecko.
Enter the Gecko. See, that's the one I'm more familiar with.
Yeah, that's the more popular one. I get the feeling.
Yeah, it's like this game's fine, but if you played one like 2D like 90s platform, you kind of played them all.
More or less. I think the quirk about this one was the Austin Powers-esque humor.
Yeah, I mean, it was fine. Like, again, there's nothing... I went to go check Enter the Gecko, side note, and for some reason they won't let me play this on my Vita, and that's annoying. Anyway, it's fine. It's just... it's very reminiscent of, like, the world themes kind of remind me of, like, Jak and Daxter almost. And I just played that. Like, even the HUD and everything, so... Maybe I just wasn't in the right mindset up for it right now. But I would go back to this and get more into it. I just kind of like, I got it. I don't know. I got my fill of it within a level or two.
Yeah, like almost immediately you know exactly what you're getting into, which I actually think is a good positive note for the game.
But it's fine. The story of Gex is what really gets me.
Oh yeah, it's so ridiculous and stupid.
It's like super depressing too. It's like Gex is depressed and his dad left him with TV. It's like, yeah, and ever since then they've just lost their way.
Well, one thing that wasn't in the previous games is addition of different vehicles. So like in the first level you get a snowboard, and gravity doesn't matter because you can go up the hill with your snowboard. So you don't have like one chance aspects of just getting certain items and yeah, that's pretty funny. There's a whole bunch of different vehicles in the game. They're stupid. There's even an anime level in this game where you're fighting like mech robots.
Because yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's 13 different levels. So the game has a lot of variety to it. It never felt old to me. It was pretty fun. You have certain collect 'em ups, bugs. You got to earn remotes for each accomplishing different levels. Gex has a weird ass jump. To be honest,
yep.
I'm not a fan of his jump. It's almost like gravity doesn't matter until he's falling down, and then it's like like he weighs 2 tons. So he goes up really quick and then down really quick.
As how real life works. Gravity. Everything falls no matter what, same speed unless you're Gex.
I kept thinking about the way Crash and Mario jump, where it seems it's not floaty, but it does have a sense of gravity to it. While Gex here jumps way too fast, and for a lot of elements in the game that require some platforming, and precise platforming, he jumps too fast for you to make it accurately. And that was a big drawback from the game. And he does have a tail attack too.
The one thing I do really wish is that this has like the same Rayman problem where like I kind of wish they just kept this like a 2D platformer like the first Gex was. I felt like I don't know, I felt like it would have been better that way because now it just feels like everyone was getting on the 3D train, so they just did it.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. I don't know. I definitely didn't have a problem with the 3D aspect of this game. It was the jumping itself. That, to me, that's what kept it from being totally... me being totally in love with the game.
So you'd recommend it or no?
I would recommend Gex as a series. I'm definitely going to play the first one to see the progression. I definitely want this game. This was one of the few I had to emulate. Yeah.
Gasp.
And it's affordable too, so I'll definitely be getting the series. I wanna play the first one on the Saturn, for sure. I've heard it runs better.
I've heard the best version is the 3DO, believe it or
not. Yeah. When a game did come out on the 3DO, I do read a lot of the times that the 3DO version does run superior, but I don't have a 3DO, I have a Saturn, and I want more Saturn games.
How dare you? You're not a real retro gamer if you don't own a 3DO and a Jaguar.
Yeah, I don't think I want a 3DO, Kevin.
Well, that's because you have a brain.
But that just means that there's one more game to add possibly to the list of why if you do want a 3DO, this Gex, the first one, might be one of them.
No, I'm good though.
And then you can continue the series.
Nope, got on PS1.
With Gex 3 here.
Got on PS1. I'm good.
What was your favorite and least favorite thing about Gex 3 here? Deep cover gecko.
So like, you know how I said it kind of feels the samey.
Yeah.
And you knew what to do. Like, I agree with you. Like, knowing that it was almost like comfort food kind of game. Like, I knew what I was getting into. Like, I like that part about it. Like, like all the environments. Actually, this is like the one time I like the snow level in the game too, which is weird. Mm-hmm. Normally, it's like slippery and I can't stand it. But I don't know. I like the layout of this one. The only thing I hate about it is just like it's more of how it aged. Like the references it tries to do. Like I kind of just like you know.
Yeah, I guess if you don't get the references,
I got them. It was just like
flies right over your head, and you don't like it.
No, I got it. It was just like it was almost like pandery, kind of.
Well, I think that was kind of the point.
Yeah, I don't know. I was more focused on the gameplay. Gex is cool.
Gex is cool. That's for sure.
I needed to play it at a different time. Is all.
Oh, and unsurprisingly enough, he gets the girl in the end.
Oh, spoilers! I didn't beat it. You're telling me the big-breasted woman on the cover of this game that he's posing next to in his stance of victory is the girl he ends up with?
Yes.
Oh, this is bullshit. Game ruined.
Yeah, and they have female gecko sex.
Bestiality sex. This is Sonic 06 before Sonic 06 happened, actually.
You know, my friend made the exact same joke.
Damn it.
He made the exact same joke playing the game.
He's like, this is where Seiko was looking. They walked in.
So this is what Sega wanted.
So here's how this happened. There was one guy sitting in who made this Eidos office, and he's sitting there watching like fanfic of Sonic and what's her name going at it, or Gex and this lady, man. And they were making Sonic 06. They're like, "Hey, you got an idea?" He's like, "Oh yeah. What are you watching over there, Jim?"
Have an idea?
Nothing. I was just I was getting inspiration for our new Sonic game. You see this gecko and lady doing it? I got an idea. And that's how Jim did get fired.
Oh boy. So yeah, another pretty good game.
Oh, and the snowboarding was cool.
Start.
Forgot to mention that.
Yeah, the snowboarding one was part. Yeah. You didn't get the jetpack or the
no.
Get to the tank or anything.
No.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it's all pretty good.
Soon.
So our next game is one of Josh's picks. God, I'm so sad he's not here today, but life, whatever.
Yeah.
Is one of his games, and I'd never heard of this series at all until playing this game. And it's Adventures of Lolo 3 on the Nintendo Entertainment Console or system.
I had to emulate this because it's expensive.
I did as well.
Mm-hmm.
This was the other one I emulated. So, hooray. This was published and developed by HAL Laboratory. Sound familiar? It should. It's the people that make Kirby.
They make that song, the HAL. That one.
Sure.
Yeah, Beatles.
I believe HAL Laboratory also made the Mother series, Earthbound and whatnot. Not mistaken.
Oh no, Ape did, I think. Ape something, and then HAL absorbed them. Whatever.
No, didn't they make Earthbound? HAL Laboratory?
I'm not sure. I thought it was Ape.
Well, anyways, if I'm mistaken, let me know. Just hit me up on Twitter or whatever. So, it's a puzzle-based game. It's based off of a Japanese arcade series, I guess, called Eggerland, which is just a series of weird puzzles that you're trying to figure out. And so this is kind of the Lolo series, as I was reading, is a conglomeration of that into making a single story. And Lolo is this like little ball creature. It's very simple. He's just a ball with two eyes, and he's got some tennis shoes on. And he's got his love interest, Lala. And Lala is, of course, in the previous games, apparently you had to save her. But in this one, the third one, now you have the option of being her. And what happened? It's got a little story to it. What happened is the great king of Eggerland. A lot of them are turning into stone or something. A lot of the people are turning into stone. You have to free them, and that you basically do that just by beating levels.
Puzzle game.
Yeah, puzzle game.
It's okay. I honestly...
Puzzle game with a story.
I had no idea what I was doing in this game the whole time.
No?
Nope. It's just, like... It doesn't explain... This is one of those games where, like, the manual is actually kind of necessary, it feels like.
Yes. I did have to look at... Because I was sick of dying a lot. And you die fast. You die quick and fast. Yeah. If you don't know, like, what each enemy does. So it's kind of like trial and error of learning what each enemy does and doesn't do, or what you're capable of as Lolo or Lala.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's just like... See, I'm not against using guides in the game, but if there's no, like, real combat or anything, like, and your whole game is a puzzle, obviously using a guide would take all the fun out of it. But I had no idea what I was doing in this game. So, like, I needed a guide, but then I was using a guide, and then I was like, well, now I know the answer, and there's nothing else to this game but the puzzle, so, like, I feel like I need the actual instructions to be like, this does this, and it doesn't give me the answers, though, you know?
Yeah.
So
the interesting aspects about this puzzle game is you have a top-down view of essentially a board, arcade board, let's call it that. And the objective is to collect all the hearts on the screen, which will unlock a treasure chest that has a key, and when you get the key, all the enemies on the screen die, and then you can go through the door to the next level. You know, in a lot of ways, this reminded me of Parasol Stars.
Mm-hmm.
The Bub and Bobby game series.
Bubble and Bob, or Bub and Bob.
Yeah, Bub and Bob. So this game was right up my alley. So I'm a big fan of games like this, and for me to have never heard of the Lolo series before, I'm very disappointed in myself as a gamer.
Why you didn't like?
Because
you messed up.
I loved this. I love this game. I have to have it now, and I have to have all of them.
Good luck. I've only seen Lolo 1, and I know Lolo 3 is expensive. I don't know where 2 lies in that whole thing.
Yeah, we'll find out. I think they range from like $20 to $60.
Nah. I'm good.
I think Lolo 3 is closer to the 80s though. But anyways, so what you have is your only weapons is this one little shot that you can shoot certain enemies, and then you more or less use them to block other enemies, whether it's in or there are Medusa stoneheads that if you cross their line of sight, you get turned to stone and you die. There are checkpoint levels, like every 5 levels or so, or whatever it may be. You have a bonus. You have a quote boss level, and once you beat that boss level, if you lose all your lives, you'll just start back at that point, which I found really cool, because then what that gets you to do is you end up perfecting the boards until you beat that boss, and then you kind of go through the motion again. So the game felt fresh every time that I was doing it. I didn't mind that I was dying a lot because I felt like the punishment was fair.
No, the game's fair once you know what you're doing. It's just
it did take a while to learn.
It's just, I don't know. I didn't have the patience for it. Again, been busy, so I could have sat and learned this game, but my mind is just like, I got the things I want to play. I can't be having my mind break right now.
Right. I mean, the third game is very much like the first two, apparently, and it just added, I think, a couple new enemies, and just to experience more of a story, I guess. Yeah. You know, just see what's happening. So
I think Lolo, if it was released today, the 3 games would have just been like DLC. Honestly. Nah.
I'd like to see a remake of this game with kind of because it could easily be what Mario 64 kind of progressed into, where you're collecting hearts on a 3D plane or a 3D level,
right,
and enemies are attacking you, and they're doing horrible things to you, because they're the one I had the most trouble with at the beginning was definitely the stone creatures that like run into you and they make you stuck in like a bush corner. It's like, well, now fuck, I have to literally press a button to kill the character on the screen and start over. And they look like thwomps from Mario.
They look like swamps. They're all the Everglades.
I'm really happy with Adventures of Lolo 3, even more so than Siphon Filter 3. And I have to play the others. It impacted me that well. I loved the shit out of this.
So
I'm
this is called the financially
like
unresponsible episode. I need all of them now.
Yeah, I need all of them. Yeah, I mean that's a good sign though that these games have done something right.
Yeah, I mean, or it could be the third one was finally the one they got right, and the first two were like, "Oh, why'd I do this?"
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? I'd try Lolo 1, maybe if I had an instruction manual or something. But for me, Lolo 3 is a pass for now.
I would definitely give it another try if you got more time.
Yeah, I need to sit down. I'd live stream and I'd be like, JD, what do I do next?
Yeah. I'm just talking shit to you. Oh, what do you do next, Kevin?
Push it right, but if I push it right, it's going to kill me. Push it right, trust me. Haha, nerd. You die. That's how that would go.
You didn't see the Medusa at the top of the screen. You suck.
Fucking nerd!
Oh, man. The skulls were the most annoying, though. Because once you get certain items or hearts, the skulls just freak out and they'll just immediately kill you. Because they just randomly jump around along the screen. The enemies were very memorable. Because you would really have to memorize who they were and what they did.
This thing kills me left. This thing kills me right.
This thing kills me from all the directions.
This thing kills me on the inside. Oh, that's just my self-esteem.
Yeah, I mean, I found myself just staring at a board for a good 5 minutes. Okay, so if I move there, then that can happen. If I shoot this guy and move him there, I have a limited amount of time before he goes out of his egg form. So that'll happen. Why doesn't that enemy turn to stone? That's bullshit. He should die. It's just things like that. It was good. After a certain amount of time, it's definitely not a binge type of game where you can play 10 straight hours.
No,
because your mind does take a toll. That's for sure. So
yeah, I don't got the mental capacity for this.
Yeah, for a puzzle game, I think it's a must-have if you're a puzzle game fan. Absolutely.
Overall, good then.
Oh yeah, fantastic.
Take JD's recommendation. I don't got the brain capacity for this one, guys.
Okay. I'll have to ask Josh what he thought of it. But speaking of Josh, let's go to his second pick. What do you think?
I mean, I guess because I don't know what I didn't say about it.
Yeah, this one's going to be a little bit tougher to talk about. I tried to do my best to talk him out of picking it, but it was better than his other choices, to be honest. And that is Suikoden 3.
This one, I just didn't have the time investment for it, man.
Oh, man.
It's a big old RPG.
I played for 3 fucking hours, and I still feel like I didn't play enough.
Is that like you want to play more, or 3.5 hours and you didn't understand what was going on?
No, I mean, Suikoden 3's fine. It's just like the other Suikoden games. I have the first 2.
Are they connected in any way, or do they all stand in their own Final Fantasy?
They're more or less kind of like Final Fantasy in that sense. They more or less stay
because I always wanted
apart
to play
from each other.
I wanted to play number 2 since it got put on PSN, but I was like, do I have to do the first one?
No, you can jump into any of them.
Nice.
So Suikoden 3 is your anime art style RPG, developed and published by Konami. Konami. It uses the renderware engine. I don't really know. A lot of PS2 RPGs used it. If I'm not mistaken.
Engine?
It's a British one.
Never even heard of it.
Yeah, the PS3, Xbox ones use it. I mean, it was one of the most utilized engines of the time, for sure.
Oh, I remember this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't get too far in the game to know what was going on, honestly.
I mean, until the Unreal Engine started taking over, this was one of the most used ones, if I'm not mistaken. So,
that's fair.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's a very long RPG. It had a manga adaptation in 2004. The game came out in July of 2002. So
almost to the start.
It literally passed our point of a game being at least 15 years old in the middle of the between podcast episodes.
He planned that so hard.
So he definitely wanted to play the shit out of this game.
So he wanted us to play in here. Where are you at, Josh?
Yeah, he made us dive into a crazy world-building, detailed game, and he's not even here to talk about it.
This is another on the list of, like, if I had more time, I can tell you more about it, but...
Oh my god, like I said, 3 hours isn't enough to even
I just
dive into the main parts of the game.
I didn't have a time commitment to even get this started. I started up, I was like, oh, I'll come back to this, and then life happened, and I just didn't get to.
Yeah. Well, so what you can do is you have a nice musical cutscene to start off, really gets you hyped up for the world, and so man, I think the best way I can do the game justice mechanically is to honestly read the manual.
Are we having a story time?
So the game uses the Trinity Sight system.
The what?
It's called the Trinity Sight system. So what you do is you have 3 characters to choose from, and you choose each character and you play their story, but each of the 3 stories are in the same timeline. So you see different viewpoints of the 3 characters. You have Hugo, who's a member of the Karaya clan. So he's kind of a peasant in the farms. Mm-hmm. You have Chris Lightfellow, who's a knight for the nation of Zexen, who, high noble type person. And then you have Ghetto, member of the Harmonian Southern Frontier Defense Force. So he's a guard of a huge nation. So you get to choose these 3 characters. And what you can do is actually after each chapter you can either continue with said character, or you can then choose to play chapter 1 of the other character, which I thought was really cool, because then you can go about the story in your own way. So I found myself, I played the first 3 chapters of each character. That's what I ended up doing. And it took a while. There's a lot of dialogue. It reminded me a lot of the Tales of series, honestly.
The Tales series?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I can see that, I guess.
I mean, the art style's pretty similar. I'm not saying the gameplay's similar at all.
Oh, I was going to say, because like, the gameplay's kind of super different.
Yeah, the Suikoden series has a very different gameplay system. For example, this one uses some kind of pairing system, which the first 2 didn't do. But you still have your teams of 6. So you have 3 pairs on your team. And you have a shitload of characters. I know Suikoden's known for that.
Yeah,
and this is no exception. You just have a bunch of characters to choose from to be in your party, and it's trial and error.
I wonder how Konami honestly has like the time to program all these guys.
Yeah, I don't know. This one has no time limits for character recruitment, which that was definitely a thing in the second game. So I was actually happy to see that not be a thing in the third game. Because then I think there was definitely over 100 characters to choose from in Suikoden 2. And I read that there's 108 people to choose from in Suikoden 3 to be on your team of 6. That's crazy.
I don't got that time to get to know everybody. I'm going to get to know 6.
No, you got to have a time commitment to play to play any Suikoden game, and Suikoden 3 is definitely no exception to the rule.
No, I don't have that in my life.
Oh boy. What I really wasn't able to get into is why you choose a character at the beginning that you aren't that character. You choose what's called the Flame Champion, and you name them yourself. In fact, you name a lot of the characters themselves. They don't have auto names for the characters like the first 2 do.
I do like naming my guys in RPGs, actually. I always name them after rappers. That's one of my favorite. Like, DMX. Go for it.
Well, the other thing that this one does different than the first two is the first two has a silent protagonist, which is very present in PlayStation games. Now we're in the PS2. The main character all have personalities and dialogue. So that's very different. What I think also is a good point to this game is the skill system. The development of the skill system in this game. And the best way I can describe it is it gives, because there's so many different skills and everything's customizable, you essentially give each character their own quirks and personalities to go along with their traits. And that's pretty cool.
Yeah. This is like I just need to invest like a lot of time into this. I really want to. It's just like I got to play in the middle of a week. I was just like, oh no, I can't do this. It sounds like you had fun with it though, from what you played.
Oh, I definitely had fun with it. I liked fiddling with a lot of the things, but one thing the Suikoden games are known for is the fucking time commitment. And holy crap, do you need it in this? And
I don't guess that.
I do like the battle system, how the characters on screen actually run up to the enemy and utilize the attack. I mean, at the beginning of the game, some of the first enemies you fight are like bunnies, and you have a giant griffin character, and it just shows the griffin running up and stomping the shit out of this bunny enemy.
It's kind of cool.
Like, okay, I'm done.
It's kind of cool though.
Yeah. I was on Reddit and things, just like looking up what people thought of Suikoden 3 and the differences, and a lot of people didn't like the pairing system. That was the biggest down point of the game. But I thought it was cool enough. It's different than the others, so I didn't really have an issue with it. It reminded me a lot of, oh man, I want to say Star Ocean, with the way the skills interact with certain characters, and it causes you to get your own strategy. So you don't really get that in Final Fantasy.
No.
So in that sense, Suikoden was very separate. It's a very separate RPG.
We haven't had a Suikoden in a while either. I wonder why.
I think Suikoden 5 was the last one.
Yeah, Konami doesn't do things anymore, but I would like to see a new one.
I don't know, with the way RPGs are going, because I know Hudson Soft got involved with the Suikoden series at some point.
Yeah, Konami owns them.
So, I don't know. Well, all right. So, of what you were able to play, Kevin, because I've been talking about this game mostly.
Because I literally got to the intro, dude. That was it.
Tell me your thoughts.
I got to the intro. I didn't get far at all.
Well, give me your initial impression.
It looks fine. The art style is fine. The little of the combat I played, a little complex, but I just knew starting it up. I was like, this looks real good. I need to put 200 hours of my life away, and just really get into it. And I really want to try a Suikoden.
Suikoden.
Okay, I never knew how to say it. It's just there is a lot of dialogue though. That kind of, I know it's an RPG thing. I mean, I love RPGs. It was just like, I just wanted people to shut up. I wanted to play. I wish they had like a talk and fight thing going on. Like there was conversation during battle to make gameplay go. That could have helped it a lot. I feel. I don't know how.
The dialogue and the battle systems were separate.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, I would say, before you take a dive into Suikoden 3, it is the first game on the PS2 that came out in the series.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, arguably, a lot of people argue that this is the best one just because it was
3
taking a yeah.
Oh, I heard 2 was the best.
Well, 2 is the best overall game, but I think the updated graphics and it's taken a lot of the systems from the first 2 and making it better. I think that's why a lot of people, maybe it was 4 then I read. I don't know. You know what? I don't know.
Don't be spouting fake news.
Yeah, fake game news.
Fake game news.
If you got time, like, I'm definitely going to go back to Suikoden 3 at one point, but I want to dive further into Suikoden 1, because I just bought that this year, and now that I've bought Suikoden 3, I gotta start getting more into the Suikoden
financially universe. Irresponsible episode. You're always just like, I guess I might as well buy them all now.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really good episode for wanting to get money out of my pocket. So I can speak volumes for the Suikoden series, RPG series as a whole. I don't think I can honestly say what Suikoden 3 is at this point and how long I've played. But I do like what I've seen so far.
I'll definitely be diving into a Suikoden, but I don't know. I don't know which one, meaning.
I do really like 2. It's a really good game. There's no doubt. It's one of the best RPGs I've ever played, is Suikoden 2.
I'll try it. I'm just waiting for one that I really want to try, like, the best. Maybe, so 2, you think is the first one to start with, then?
I would test out the first one to see if you like the systems, and then see where it goes. But Suikoden 2 is, at this point, since I've dabbled in all 3, I've played the shit out of the second one. 2 is, again, one of the best RPGs I've ever played.
Alright, so I'm going to try 2, and then I'll come back to 3 on a future episode and give you an update.
Yeah. Yeah, you can kind of update us if you ever go back and play it. So, those were 2 Josh's picks. Now we're to your picks, Kevin.
Lit. Let's do this. What was first on the chopping block?
It's not lit. You suck.
Shut your goddamn mouth. Oh, this one. Never mind. This one's not as lit. It was Donkey Kong Country 3 for the Super Nintendo / Game Boy Advance / Game Boy-ish, kind of. Yeah, Donkey Kong Land.
No, I thought it only came out on the SNES and the GBA.
No, they had Donkey Kong Land 3 for GB, either way.
But they had to take a lot out of the game, didn't they?
Yeah, well, that's why it was like kind of on it.
Kind of 3? I don't know.
Yeah.
Dixie Kong's Double Trouble is the full title.
So, the way the wonderful Donkey Kong Country series has gone is they've either, like, they've taken a character and then threw one out and put a new one in every game. So from 2, you have Diddy and Dixie. And from 3, you now have Dixie and Worthless. Honestly, like, this game...
Baby Kong.
Yeah, whatever. This game's fine as, like, a game. It's just, like... It's just worse, like, 2. I don't know. I like this game. I played Donkey Kong 1 and 2 to death. But there's just something about 3 that I don't love as much. And I can't even tell you what it is. One thing I do hate about it is the kind of unnecessary overworld that they put in it. Like, 2, like, on 1 and 2, you kind of go over the map and you're like, okay, this is, like, the big area and then the sub-levels in it. But 3, it took me a while to even get started because, like, you're just plopped into a lake. And it's just like, okay, where do I go? And it, like, took me, like, 10 minutes to, like, start the game. I was like, where do I go? Where? And there was, like, I get they were trying things, but it was, like, really unnecessary trying of things. So I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's a Rare game. It's developed by Rare. It came out in 96, so it was way late on the Super Nintendo release date.
Yeah, it was real late, but I don't know. They hit gold with 2, and then, like, it was almost like they should have stopped because it was like, what else can we do? But they didn't stop.
No,
yeah,
it's a real shame because I love the first 2 as well.
And 3 isn't bad.
I mean,
3 isn't
Donkey
bad.
Kong 3 came out a year after the second one.
Oh, was that fast?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I think it was just pumped out. It felt like it was just pumped out just to be DKC 3. Because, as you said, the overworld felt very unnecessary. It felt... Because 2 had an overworld, but it didn't feel it felt needed. It looked crisp, while this one was the viewpoint was way high. You couldn't really get it looked like a pixelated mess on the screen. Honestly, that's what I took from it. The levels didn't look as detailed or crisp as the first two.
They're kind of bland colors. It's a lot of like green, blue, and brown.
It was because the first two had kind of a darker atmosphere to it. Utilized a lot of the different colors of brown, but it also utilized red and black, and this one just felt all brown.
Yeah, a lot of earthy colors, but like I didn't just want to see those boring colors the whole time. So I don't know.
Yeah, because usually with sequels, they take a lot of things from the previous two games and add more. This one didn't feel like it even added anything. It looked like it felt like it took a lot out, and the atmosphere was a big part of it. I just never got into it. I didn't like the new character. He was worthless, as you said.
Yup. I never used Baby Kong.
I mean, a lot of the animal... It just felt like they were throwing characters in there for the sake of it.
There's some backstory.
The enemies on screen... The enemies on screen weren't really doing it for me.
The bees were the only thing I think that returned, really, right? Like, the annoying bees.
You're right.
Yeah, I don't know. It kind of felt like soulless, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah, it didn't have that same feel.
They put out...
That's for sure.
They put it out almost to be like, Donkey Kong Country makes money. Let's do it.
Yeah, even from the get-go, I was like, wow, this is it?
Yeah. Why am I in this lake? Why do I need this?
And even how you end the level with the chain flag.
Yeah, that's not as fun as like the thing from 2 where you land and you get a bonus. It's just like, oh. Alright, I did it. I mean, Donkey Kong 1 had that same thing, kind of. It was just like, I'm here.
It was also the first one, though. You almost feel like that gets a pass. But in the third one, you'd think they'd do something more interesting at the end of a level.
3 should have been improved upon too, but whatever a second game comes out, it's either you get even better or you just fall right off. And this one kind of fell off, only in comparison, you know?
Yeah.
So, it's alright.
It was... I mean, the levels were fine, I guess, but fine isn't good enough, I feel.
No, that's the thing. Like, if this was number 2, it would probably be better, but, like, I had a better experience before this one. So I'm like, you know? Like,
yeah, I could probably agree with that, but even the first one had... Everything about the first one felt better than this third one.
Not only that, you had the actual Donkey Kong in it. So, like,
right.
And there's a backstory to that, which I guess, like... So I guess what happened was, like, Miyamoto doesn't like Donkey Kong Country. Like, he doesn't like what Rare, like, did to it. He said the game looks like shit. So Rare was offended by that. And then, which is why in 2, there's no Donkey Kong. They were like, no, this is our thing now. Like, it has the name, but that's it. So they did it as a slap in the face to Nintendo. And I've heard that 3, the reason Baby Kong exists is because it's supposed to be, like, calling Donkey Kong a little bitch.
Oh my god. So, well, then that hurts us, the gamers, then,
yeah,
in the end.
So, like, it's kind of just like a fuck you to Miyamoto kind of thing.
Well, I mean, it utilizes the same Silicon graphics technology, the rendering, the pre-rendered models and everything, 3D animations. It's all the same. It has all the same people as Diddy's Conquest, the second one. So it's like, what went wrong here? What happened? I think it was just rushed.
It was rushed, and it just because it was rushed, it had no soul behind it. How much time was there between 1 and 2? Do you know offhand?
I can look it up, but one thing that I think that stood out the most, and it's bad, is the music.
It sucks.
Was so boring and bland.
Yeah, 2. I think 2. The big thing that got 2 and 1 were music. And, like, you know, it's one of those things you don't think about, like, music in a game until it's really bad. Like, even good music in the game, I'm like, alright, this is good. But, like, when, like, it just sounds, like, dreary and depressing. Like, I can't tell you a single, like, I can't even, like, hum a song from 3.
So, Donkey Kong Country 1 came out exactly a year before Donkey Kong 2. So then there couldn't be any excuse for time frame.
No, I think that makes an even stronger case, like, because it's like, okay, we got 2 out and we did a good job, and they're like, do it again in another year. They're like, come on, you know. So, like, I see a pot because, like, Crash 2, which is revolved as, like, one of the best ones, came out a year after Crash 1.
I suppose so. Maybe they had all the ideas made, and they were able to refine everything for the second game, and the third game fell off.
Yeah, because by the third one, you're
in
like...
In the case of Crash 3, we saw a vast change. They added a bunch of different things. Crash got sunglasses. Holy crap!
Which means he's got 2 now.
Yeah. What did Donkey Kong? What did Donkey Kong Country 3 get? It felt like they got nothing.
It got a baby.
They got a baby character, and that was it. I don't know. Anytime I talk to someone about Donkey Kong Country 3, because I've played it prior to the podcast, but now I got to dive into it a little bit more and develop my own opinion. The only people that say this is just from who I've communicated with. The only people that say they truly like Donkey Kong Country 3 is because it was the first one they played in the series, or it was the only game they played in the series. So they have a big nostalgia glasses overturning the game.
So we could rank... I would probably rank the whole trilogy 2, 1, 3 then.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was the most disappointing one on the list for sure.
I'll still stand by it's not a bad game. It's just play 2 instead kind of thing.
I would rather play the other 2. I don't even see a need to play this because I don't even like the way it looks, honestly.
Yeah. I think this one has like the best cover art of all 3, which makes me want to like it more.
Come now.
I don't know, I liked it.
So, unfortunate.
Yeah, unfortunate, but oh well.
So, our last game is Kevin's last game, our 6th game. And I will go into something right after we announce the game that we played. And Kevin gives kind of a little who developed it backstory when it came out and everything. So, Kevin, go for it.
Like I researched this. So, the last game on the list was Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse. Probably I'd say easily the best Castlevania on NES. And, 2D side-scroller, left to right. The big draw of this one was something I didn't use at all, which was the interchangeable characters. Like, right. I don't see the reason to be anyone but Trevor Belmont in this game. Ever. Like...
Gotta be Trevor fucking Belmont, man.
Yeah, well, like, none of the characters did anything else that was special. Like, you had Grant, who climbed on walls, and then Blue Mage Lady, who existed. And then I'd never found Alucard, so I don't know if he does anything special, but I don't know. It was okay. I mean, the game is really good. It's really hard.
It's ungodly hard.
Yeah, this is one that I emulated because, one, I knew I was going to save state the crap out of it, and 2, I ain't paying for that cartridge.
Yeah, it's like $50-$60.
I can't do that. I remember when it was $25. It's too much, man. Like, and this one had some special sound chip in it if you're cool enough to live in Japan, where it had like better music. I'm not paying for a Famicom version of this game for that. It was just, I don't know. It's an overall good 2D platformer. It took what made Castlevania 1 good and then made it better.
And they took the only good part of Simon's Quest, the second one, which was the backtracking, to go on alternating paths.
See, the backtracking got me confused at first, because once I got Grant, then I was like, why am I doing this level backwards? What do I do? And I couldn't see where I was falling down to sometimes.
That was irritating, for sure, because the rules of dying at the bottom of the screen only applied then to certain sections. Right, and
that was where I was like, alright, well, I'm save stating this.
But I will give it a pass because of the time.
Yeah.
Because it came out in 1990?
Yeah.
89, 90, around there?
I guess, but be consistent,
Yeah, this was definitely a virtual console purchase for me.
Yeah. Well, you save stated, I'm sure, right?
I did not. I tried
Don't lie to me.
to beat it as faithfully as I could.
So JD's a liar. We all know this.
I didn't get very far to say the least. I got Grant, and I got Ice Mage Lady, which I can't remember her name.
I don't even. I think, believe it or not, it's a guy, but I don't care enough. Also,
I can't remember her name.
Yeah, it's not important.
And
Honestly,
it's actually very appropriate that you picked this game.
Why is that?
Because earlier this month, the anime came out.
Oh yeah,
about Castlevania 3, and it's on Netflix.
I forgot that happened.
4 episodes, and I quite liked it.
I
quite enjoyed it.
I didn't play it yet, but
it was good.
I would try it.
The anime is really good. Trevor Belmont's a beast. It's pretty funny. Dracula's a pissed off guy, so obviously we're facing Dracula in this one.
Yep.
As you do. And you are the same. No, you're a different.
We're Trevor
Belmont.
We're Trevor
than the first one.
The first one you're Simon. This one we're Trevor.
Yeah, the first and second one you're Simon. This one you're Trevor. Sypha, that's her name.
Yeah.
Her name's Sypha.
Syphilis, got it. I never used her anyway. I don't care about her.
I used her. She was good. She had she had poor regular attacks, but her magic attack killed enemies a lot.
I didn't even know how you use the magic.
That was a lot easier.
How'd you use the magic, honestly?
Well, you can switch with select, and then you would hold up and B like an attack, like using Trevor getting an axe or something.
Yeah, I couldn't make it work.
Well, you were also on an emulator, so maybe that was the deal.
Oh, baby, you're on an emulator. You know, I had to play it at work, and I played on my breaks, and I think over the course of like 3 weeks with save stating, I beat it. And
yeah, I called you a little bitch for save stating because you didn't try to beat
save
it.
Stating.
You didn't get very far.
I screwed myself at save stating because I had one life, or a hit left, and I was fighting Dracula. I was like, oh god. Here we go. And I had Oh,
Dracula's impossible in Castlevania 3. No, impossible.
Not unless you save state it.
I watched videos of people trying to beat Dracula, not save stating, and I couldn't... I finally found one video of someone doing it, because everything was challenge to beat Dracula. So they would save state up until Dracula with full lives, and then they'd try to beat it without, a save state thing. Right. It's just impossible.
It's I don't know, man. I don't know how anyone would do this any other way. I'm sorry.
The music is fantastic. It's rock hard. That's for sure.
I'm rock hard.
The game is rock hard in difficulty. I did think the backtracking was pretty cool. I loved the alternating paths. Mm-hmm. I love that addition. And a lot the clock level, the most memorable for sure. You're jumping onto the clock gears. They're all moving in the back of the screen.
I did like that.
Yeah, there's so much atmosphere to the Castlevania games, and 3 gave us, as you said at the beginning, 3 gave us everything 1 did and made it better, and took the nonsense that Castlevania 2 out.
And it made me forget that 2 existed.
Yeah. I would definitely agree this is the best Castlevania on the Nintendo Entertainment System, for sure.
My friend would argue too, but he can be wrong.
I wonder... Man, I still haven't seen one in the wild. I definitely want it. A physical copy, but until then, I have the Virtual Console version, and that's good enough for now.
If I find one for you, I'll send it to you.
Okay. Yeah, and I'll PayPal the money to you in my Canadian fake money.
Nice. That means I'll have more money somehow. That's not how that works.
Well, no, I'll end up paying more.
Nah,
the Canadian dollar is getting closer.
I'd bro price you. Come on now.
So, this game, actually in development, Yeah, you did say that there was an extra chip involved for the Japanese version of the game.
Yep.
Which made the music better. You did say that.
I did. And if you want to go find a Famicom disc version of this game, good luck. It's pretty hard, I think, to find.
Yeah, it probably is. Have you ever played any other Castlevanias besides this one?
I've played one. I beat one, actually. I'm sorry. I beat 3, so I've gotten close to beating 4. I played Bloodlines, which is so good.
It's really good.
I've dabbled in Dracula X. And then I have the PSP version of Dracula X, which I haven't played. And then what was the other one? I played
Symphony of the Night.
That was one of the first series I did on my channel, but I didn't know how to edit. And it's really cringy, and don't watch it. I would redo it because it needs it. It deserves justice.
Well, Dracula X, if I'm not mistaken, is the port of the TurboGrafx.
Yeah, it's a
CD.
superior version that everyone tells me. I'm like, dude, it's fine enough.
You can get it on the Virtual Console, and that's probably my favorite Castlevania game as well. Symphony of the Night is definitely number 2, and then Bloodlines is 3. But Castlevania 3, I don't know, there's something about the NES version, the NES Castlevania series, and its simplicity, and its difficulty that keeps drawing me back in. So maybe the more I play Castlevania 3, the higher on the list it'll go.
I also played the DS ones. Sorry, forgot to mention that. Yeah, pretty much. This would be the one I'd get on NES first, which I know everyone would tell you like get one first. It's just this one's the hardest one, but it's the best one. If you're gonna pick one Castlevania, I'd say get this one.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, and it does everything the first one does with deaths and restarting at levels. It's the Ninja Gaiden bullshit where it's 3 lives and you're out. That's nonsense.
Well, old games. That's what they do.
So very happy with Castlevania 3. If you're a fan of the Castlevania series at all, this is definitely a must play. And then go watch the anime adaptation of this game because it's campy and it's awesome.
Define what you mean by campy.
You'll just have to see it for yourself.
Deal.
Like Dracula, the writing is just super over the top medieval type speak. Dracula's this like pompous dude, and he gets all pissed off. You burned my wife, therefore you will all burn in a sea of fire. Demons attack.
What is a man? Does he say that yet?
Well, he doesn't say that, but he has that inflection on his voice when he talks all the time. It's quite funny. And Trevor Belmont has just great lines. He don't give a fuck about anybody.
That's the move.
Yeah. There's a moment where he gets kicked in the balls and he's like, "Please stop."
Okay, so maybe I will watch it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's on Netflix. It's out. Only 4 episodes. The second season was already approved, so it's very appropriate that you picked Castlevania 3 for the second sequel podcast here.
Do you ever listen to, now that it's totally related to 3, do you ever listen to Giant Bomb, ever?
I have, yeah.
You ever see, when they talk about, like, yeah, I made up lyrics to Castlevania 2, like, the da-da-da, that song?
Da-da-da-da,
yeah. They're like, what's the song? He goes, Barkerville, Barkerville, Barkerville. It's like, the only word you made up was Barkerville. Why'd you call the town Barkerville? He goes, oh, it just fits. Barkerville, Barkerville. It's just like,
so lame.
Just every time I hear that song now, I just start going, Barkerville, Barkerville.
Yeah. The music's definitely the best part of the Castlevania series. Have you ever played the Lords of Shadow on the PS3?
I have it, and I want it. I have the Castlevania collection on that, which comes with... it's that one and then the 3DS game, which I heard was meh.
Yeah.
And then I heard Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2 is like cancer on a disc. So
yeah. I mean, if you like God of War, Lords of Shadow is good.
I heard it's called Castlevania Lords of Shadow of the Colossus.
I don't know about that. I would say Castlevania Lords of War or something.
Yeah, it could work
along those lines. So yeah, good game. To go over... So yeah, that takes us to the end here. To go over our 6 games we played for the second Sequels podcast here is Siphon Filter 3, Gex 3, Deep Cover Gecko, both on the PlayStation, Adventures of Lolo 3 on the NES, Suikoden 3 on the PS2, Donkey Kong Country 3, Dixie Kong's Double Trouble on the Super Nintendo, and Castlevania 3 on the NES again.
What's our score of recommendations? How many out of 6?
I would say 5 out of 6, personally.
Yeah, I pretty much would say, like, pass on Lolo. And that's it. I would still play
And I would say pass on DKC3.
Well, that's why you're wrong. No, I'm just kidding. He's got a point.
Yeah.
Alright, man.
Yeah. But that also plays into the fact that I've played the first 2. Maybe my opinion would be different if I've played the first 2 Siphon Filters, Gexes, Lolos. You can definitely pass on Castlevania 2.
Yeah. Play the good Castlevania 2 on Game Boy.
Man, I couldn't. Besides DKC 3 being last for me, it's pretty hard to rank them like 1 to 5. But I definitely have my number 1 and number 2.
Yeah, I can see that.
That would be Lolo 3 number 1 and Castlevania 3 number 2.
I wonder what the Lolo series I would rank if I got to actually have the brain power to play them all.
Yeah, I really wish you would have given it more time.
Sorry, I don't have the brain.
That's okay. It's okay.
I can't do it.
So what do you got? What are your favorites? What are your 2 favorites?
Castlevania 3 and Siphon Filter 3, I think.
Ooh, nice.
I think that's the move.
Yeah, I wonder what Josh would have preferred. I think he would have preferred just Castlevania and Suikoden.
You can just speak for him. It's fine.
Yeah, I think Castlevania would be his number 1 and Suikoden number 2.
Word.
Yeah, something tells me he's in an RPG kind of mood.
Yeah, I feel it.
Yeah, he's been playing. For those that don't know, Josh couldn't be here today. He represents Power Chord Gaming, YouTube channel, and he's playing through all the Final Fantasies.
He's got time for that, but not to be here with us. Mm-hmm.
Whew. He has time to play Final Fantasy, but not time to wake up and podcast with us. But that's okay. He gave me at least one really good game to look forward to the future.
As it should be.
Yeah. All right. Well, Kevin, any parting words? Or no, you know what? What are some other second sequels out there you would like to just kind of honorably mention?
Uncharted 3, Killzone 3, Tide the Tasmanian Tiger 3. I haven't played any of those. I don't know about that last one.
Jack 3.
Midway Arcade Treasures 3. No, I'm actually serious about that one because it has the arcade versions of like a lot of racing games people play on like Dreamcast and 64, including Hydro Thunder. So right. I would recommend that. Let's get one more in there for good measure. Burp. A
lot of modern games. There's a lot of modern game trilogies out there. Assassin's Creed 3 also, is probably the weakest.
Hold up. It's coming. I'm getting there. Wait, 1, 2. Ocarina of Time.
That is the 4th one.
Oh, a home console one. Oh shit, it still is. Link to the Past.
Yeah, Link to the Past. That's a good one.
All right, so there. That's all I got.
Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. Man, what other Tomb Raider 3 is good?
I never played those actually.
Yeah, a lot of the we're definitely gonna have a Tomb Raider episode at one point. Whole dedicated Tomb Raider.
Soon.
Yeah, a lot. I mean, you could just go on and on about second sequels, but a lot of them did come out later, post 2000. Those third games. If we're staying away from like major franchises, so.
Yeah. Word. I think we did a good job here, buddy.
I think it was a fun episode. If you want to listen to more Red Leaf Retrocast, you can find it once again iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, and a plethora of other places. You can also find the podcast on VidMe and YouTube at Muschenspiel.
Yeah.
You can find Kevin at Console Kev, great YouTube channel. Some Tales of Symphonia stuff if you like RPGs.
I have like
messing around type material.
I have 11 more to edit. What am I doing with my life?
If you want to continue the RPG train with the members of the Retrocast, definitely check out Josh's Power Chord Gaming channel, where he's playing through all the Final Fantasies. You can find him at Twitter at the same names.
Word.
Sponsored by David T, of course. Drink on. Keep the voice mellow and the body healing with some David's tea.
That was some deep shit.
Oh. And if you want to, and if you're interested in more Red Leaf Retrocast material, there's the Weebcast, which we discuss retro anime. Same thing. I'm sure if you've listening to us now, you'd be interested in some anime. So, I think some Castlevania 3 music's gonna take us out. Agreed, Kevin?
Sir.
Alrighty.
I guess we'll see you guys next time then.